Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And we are back. Last week was truncated, excavated, belated, masticated by Road Rage Tampa. Road Rage Tampa, if you are not familiar. Road Rage Tampa is a product and function of The Dick Show. It's Dick.show. That is Dick Masterson's podcast. It is a live, The Dick Show is a weekly podcast. Road Rage is a live show version of The Dick Show. It amounts to a multiple person party for several days. And then culminates in a live show, about 3-4 hours, a live comedy show. We will be talking about the whiskey. We'll be talking about everything. No, I did not video anything. Road Rage is not my production. And so, I don't make it a point to walk around videoing it. The show itself, is videoed by Dick Masterson, and it, I believe, is available to his patrons. Once it's processed, the audio is, hopefully cleaned up and everything from the show. There were disaster after disaster leading up to the show, which live shows tend to do this. And, there's various things that are misunderstood by various people. There's interference attempts, and gay ops all around, including complaints all the way to the mayor of Tampa. It was... I can talk about those in just a little bit as people come in to this. By the way, you should all check and make sure everything is okay on your end. YouTube gave me an announcement that they will be that there may be an impact to live viewer numbers. So there may be an impact to live viewer numbers as they clean up quote unquote spam, which of course means whenever that happens, whenever YouTube cleans up something, they fuck a bunch of people over. They screw a bunch of people over. Sorry, I don't want to use profanity when talking about YouTube. So that will be great to see that. So that'll be very fun. I'm very sure my entire audience will consist of spam accounts before too long. But that is how that goes. So just to be on warning, make sure you stay subscribed. Did see a couple comments over the past couple days. People occasionally getting unsubscribed against their will. That's what YouTube does. It's the algorithm. The algorithm figures out who's not watching and unsubscribes people right after they watch the show. So that's a fun thing. But I will talk a little bit about Road Rage tonight. And the fun drama that went on there. I'll talk about the fun stuff that went on there, which was basically everything. It is a very fun show. There will be crying and whinging. There will be crying and whinging from some people who don't understand how life works or something, and who just have misconceptions about what goes on. And that'll be funny to watch over the next couple days. Remember, we all laugh back. And that's a good thing. But on balance, Road Rage was a great show. And the other guests there, so of course Dick Masterson is the host of the show. I was a guest. You had the two guys, Royce and Mersh from Revenge of the Sis, were there. You had Mad Cucks, which he is one of the co-hosts of the Here's What I Don't Get podcast. Very, very funny guy. Also a very nice and good, decent dude. You also had Carl from Who Are These Podcasts, Ethan Ralph of the Ralph Retort, and then finally, Danny Polishchuk and Ryan Long. Ryan Long is the guy who did the Wokes and Racists Believe the Same Thing video. Many of you have probably seen that. We were all there. And I think we all ended up with one main goal, which was to roast Ethan Ralph as much as possible. I'm kidding. But it was a great show. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Tonight, we are going to be doing a review of this Angel's Envy finished rye whiskey. I know I've drank a lot of it, but I'm going to sit down and do the review of it. It is a nice whiskey. It's very tasty, but we're going to give it a little bit of attention. We're going to talk about that bottle of Whistle Pig. If you saw the community tab notification, my dad did, and he chastised me for my use of profanity. But we will be talking about that bottle of Whistle Pig. I will tell the story of what happened there. And then we will be talking about election stuff. And what we may end up doing while talking about this election stuff. I think I might pull up the Viva Fry and Robert Barnes Viva's show, the live stream that they did on the weekend, which is a heavily attended live stream. My sincere congratulations and admiration for Viva Fry and putting on a highly successful live show every weekend. You guys should check it out, Viva and Barnes. It does great. 5-figure viewership. Very, very cool stuff. However, there is some framing going on in that discussion around the dismissal, the Supreme Court's dismissal of the Texas lawsuit. A lawsuit that I have said multiple times a couple things about. One, I thought it was a fantastically drafted lawsuit. I thought it was well argued. I thought it was the best lawsuit put forward for Trump's victory in the courts. It doesn't mean it was going to win, but I did think that it's about as good of a job as could be done. It was very polished document. I think I ran across like one typo when reading it. And the arguments were well-reasoned and well-founded. The citations were good, and they put together a good case. And the other thing I said about it, I don't think I said it in my video, but I said it in some comments on YouTube. I also said it to anyone who asked me about it personally, that when they said, what do you think the likely outcome is? I said that Supreme Court dismisses it for lack of standing, because that was the most likely outcome. As far as I saw, that's what they did. They decided that Texas doesn't have standing. Now, I don't agree with that decision, but unfortunately, the Supreme Court are objectively the best constitutional lawyers in the country while they're alive. They are the best. There is no one better. And it's like God saying, it's like saying that God is the best deity. So long as God exists, he wins. There you go. It's when you make the rules and you decide what the answer is, you are the best. And everybody else can kind of make predictions and stuff like that. We can disagree all we want, but at the end of the day, what the Supreme Court puts down on paper is the rule. So we're going to talk about that. And then, like I said, I think what we'll do is we'll listen to Barnes talk about it on Viva Frey. He said some good stuff. He said some stuff that I might disagree with a little bit. I know I see Uncivil in the chat, Uncivil Law. Some people got really mad at him because he kind of let off a little steam on Barnes. And you know what? I don't think that getting mad at, I mean, my opinion, I didn't get mad at Uncivil Law for that. I think honesty and staying true to what you think is the most important thing. And that's well within. He brings up some good points, and I'll probably mirror some of them in some ways. And it's not really like a. I'll probably word it a little differently. I'm not going to give it as a criticism of Barnes so much, just as the reality of legal work. The reality of legal work in that you have an adversarial system, and in that system, there are two sides to the story, two arguments that compete. And in that competition, you have a winner and a loser. And so with legal commentary, you know, there's this thing, it's like to look at who predicted what correctly. There are a lot of factors that go into legal decisions, and prediction is not, lawyers aren't in the business of predicting. We're in the business of often projecting what we want to happen, what we think we can affect. If we're in the case, right? If I've got a client and I'll say, this is what I think we can do. These are the possible outcomes. Like I have to, let me give you an example. Let's say this is a first-time marijuana offense in Minnesota, right? So they have, let's say, 70 grams of marijuana, which is over the non-criminal limit. You got 70 grams of leafy marijuana. It's a first-time offense. Well, actually, it's going to be a weird example. We'll have to go through it. But I have to tell my client that the possibility exists that they will have a felony charge, which they could serve over a year in prison. They could have a fine of over $3,000. Now, how that and they can get that sentence. That is absolutely possible for them to get. Now, how Minnesota works with first-time marijuana charges in specific, that you tend to get a one-time freebie where you can get that sentence, but you can get probation and a stay of adjudication under a statute, which is kind of rare to give a statutory stay of adjudication. But on a first-time marijuana offense, it can happen. And so long as you don't have any other controlled substances offenses, you can get this exception. However, the sentence could still be something like up to 5 years in prison and up to, I think, a $5,000 or $10,000 fine, something. I don't know the statute off the top of my head, but I have to tell them the worst possible outcome, even though the likelihood of them getting that outcome is extremely low as a first-time offender. And I shouldn't have picked marijuana. I should have picked, like a moving violation. How about this? If you run into a car in a parking lot, like at a Walmart, you smash into the car, and then you don't leave a note or call the police or tell the person that you smashed into their car. You just drive away. That's a misdemeanor in Minnesota. And you can get like 30 days in jail and a $1,000 fine, in addition to paying restitution to the victim for the damage to their car. If they're able to prove this out. It's kind of not an easy thing to prove most of the time. But a first-time offender is likely not going to go to jail for 30 days if they just smashed into a car, got scared, and drove away, right? But I have to tell them that that's how it could go. Now, then I'll project to them what I think we're going to have happen, and that's a different story, okay? So that's how legal work works when you're in the case. When you're commenting on a case, you have a separate issue where you have no power to affect the case. You're just going to give an opinion about what you think might or might not happen. And you might align with one side or the other and then be incorrect because it doesn't work out that way. And there can be all sorts of things, right, that lead into that decision. So, and how lawyers speak can sometimes muddle between the two. All right. So that's my apologetic explanation for, what I might talk about with disagreement with Barnes on his framing of the issue. And to Viva's credit in the clip, I don't know if we're going to get to this spot in the clip, so I want to make sure and mention it. To Viva's credit, he tries to address this with Barnes in a sympathetic way by saying some people are going to accuse you of spin or framing the issue. And of course he is. Of course he is framing the issue favorably to his analysis. It's pretty hard to frame something unfavorably towards your own analysis. So I'll give that deference. But there are some things with Barnes that I really disagree upon. And the big one is the overall theme of how he's taking this. And I think this is what is getting to uncivil law, or was when he talked about it. But I'm not going to speak for him. This is just my guess. But I think what is getting there is Barnes is still playing out that there's like a reasonably good chance that that something really far outside of the norm is going to happen and Trump is going to be elected. And I know a lot of people really, really want to hear that. And it's just very unlikely to be the case. All right? Very unlikely to be the case. So we've got to get that out there. It would be disingenuous of me to give any position other than that. It's the Doompil proposition. And we will talk about the chance that is out there, as I have been doing the entire time. The entire time I will lay out the chances that are still in play. There is weird stuff going on, and it all could hinge on something. I'm not going to say you should count on it. Okay? And if your objection to what I'm saying amounts to, like government is a pile of garbage, the system is rigged, it's not really an objection, but if that's your response, I should say, to what I'm saying is the system is rigged, everything's unfair. Yeah. Yep. Welcome to it. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to know that there's fuckery afoot in every one of these things, and the question tends to become, does the horse cockery amount to enough to overturn an election or to make something happen? And we haven't been asking this question from the Republican side over the past 4 years, but the Democrats have, right, with their claims of bleeding cries of Russian interference. But the Democrats were asking that question before the election of Trump as well, with Bernie Sanders. With Bernie Sanders losing out to Hillary Clinton. Of course there's fuckery afoot. Of course it is. And before that, we may have questions about how Mitt Romney or John McCain get to be the Republican nominee, and why we're left with an absolute dumpster fire of Republican nominees like Mitt Romney, who goes into the third debate and agrees with Obama on literally everything, completely negating any reasonable expectation that he should win. If you agree with Obama on every issue, then why would we change who the president is? So anyway, and you can go back to Kerry, who had allegations that the election was rigged in favor of President Bush, although did decide to drop those allegations prior to bringing them to court, probably because he saw what happened to Al Gore's political career after that happened. Going back to Al Gore, many people think that the election was stolen from Al Gore, in this case by a Supreme Court favorable to George Bush. And there's credibility to that argument. You don't have to agree with it, but there's a reasonable credibility to those allegations when you look at how the numbers were going in Florida on the recounts until SCOTUS says, nope, stop. So my point in all this is that, yes, presidential elections in particular are too big and too important for us to not have considerations that there are severe chances and a severe likelihood of interference of one sort or another. And I will tell you, the biggest interference in this election, I believe, has been the media, specifically Facebook and Twitter, and their distribution and, more importantly, non-distribution of stories, or their outright suppression of stories like we have with the Hunter Biden laptop. But that is all coming. Here I am pontificating about what will happen on the show. So let's start with the super chats. Oh, let's start with the super chats, and then I will show you a gift I received in Tampa. That you may see already. Let me see. Maybe I can. Whoa. Maybe we can turn this a little bit, and you can get a better view. There you go. There you go. See if you can find it. No, I did not get herpes in Tampa, although many people trying to give them to me. All right, we've got the Dragon's Treasure. The Dragon's Treasure says, saw a 4-year-old crying the other day. I went up to her to try and help. I asked her, do you know where your mommy and daddy is? She said no and cried uncomfortably. I don't know why I even decided to volunteer at the orphanage. No one would even buy my tea. So there you go. That's the Dragon's Treasure. Ruining the life of an orphan child even more. And if you want to help ruin orphans, you just go ahead and go to thedragonstreasure.com and buy some tea. So that would be great. Thedragonstreasure.com is where tea and anime collide. George Paul says, my friend Rishi Vias will be listening to you for the first time tonight. I speak highly of your wise insight. Please give us some hope tonight. It's been a long week waiting for you to return. Oh, I don't know if I invested in hope with my Bitcoin, but maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Hope is something that no one can give you, by the way. No one can give you hope. They can give you reasons to maintain hope. They can give you reasons to pursue it. But hope comes from in here. Comes from right here. In the ventricles. In the ventricles. You have to pull it out. R.W. Bimby says, Pence should kick out observers for the Electoral College count. Do it at 4 a.m. and say, I counted and Trump won. Social media says you're not allowed to disagree with this official count. Look, I think that's a joke, but there's a weird truth to what you just said. And we'll talk about it. It's so unlikely as to be unreasonable to consider, but it is there. So we'll talk about it. Tell me lies. Thank you, Jason Poopas. Gaston Heaps said, a great time talking to you and Drex in Tampa. Yeah, man. It was awesome to meet you. Here's some money for the peg leg porker and Doompills you were slinging. Looking forward to the next Road Rage. Again, guys, I will always announce in advance if I'm going to a Road Rage, and I highly encourage you to come and have fun engaging with people. It was like Tampa is a bastion of freedom left in this country. You could just go out and sit in a restaurant, and you don't have to have a mask on. You can smoke like inside or outside of lots of places. There are people just out normally hanging around. No one's like breathing in your face or anything stupid. People are just out. And it's great. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Oh, there are fat girls getting thrown out of bars and then pushed around by their weird little, like, middle-aged, balding, semi-built, short boyfriends, and then getting arrested or whatever. God, it was hilarious. Benjamin Myers says, McCain's tumor still deserves a peace prize, but Trump still won. Squinox says, hey, Nick, glad to see you like the docky and the cigars. Oh, is that who you gave me the docky? Oh, it's great. It was great to meet you and Lady Rackets. You both are lovely, and listening to Drexel rant about the twerking women at the grotto was funny as hell. Keep up with the black pills. It keeps us sane. Yeah, the Gasper's Grotto, terrific food at Gasper's Grotto. Best black beans I've ever had. Maybe those are all the black pills I was eating. That place had good food, and it was kind of a fun bar to go to in the evening. Okay. Sounds like a chud boyfriend. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that. That was a fun thing. That'll be part of the Road Rage talk in just a second. But first, Siquinox, who I believe is the purveyor of the Yoko Littner waifu pillow. I did finally get a waifu pillow, and they, you know, my professed waifu is Yoko Littner. So it's full on waifu, although it is, you know, it is clothed, thank goodness. And I figured who would have a waifu pillow other than an Ultra Smurf? So he gets his Yoko pillow right here. Heresy. So there's. I knew immediately where it was going. I knew immediately that's where it was going. Yeah, no, trust me. I know. Okay? I know. I found out later. Swade's Lounge says Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, New Mexico, and Michigan GOP have submitted alternate sets of electors. Doesn't Pence have plenary power to read them in instead of the Dems electors? I was going to get this later, but we do have a super chat, so let me address this. The answer is maybe. Maybe. How do we put this? Yes, the president of the Senate, who is at most times the vice president of the United States, you know, unless he has other duties like being president or something weird, but generally speaking, the president of the Senate is the vice president of the United States. He is the one charged with reading and counting the electoral votes. There is a question or a theory. It is presented by Barnes in the Viva and Barnes video. It is how do I get to this? There is a theory that Mike Pence could simply read whatever set of electors he chose to read and count those votes. And since these states have presented alternate sets of electors, he would be able to then read the alternate sets of electors if he so chose, and it would be possibly plenary authority. I think no one should consider this as a reasonable outcome. The question of what would happen if it happened, in my mind, goes something along the lines of the Supreme Court gets a petition, and then we have a real crisis. Because the Supreme Court shouldn't be able to review the plenary authority of anybody specifically enumerated in Congress to do it. But then again, the Supreme Court shouldn't be able to deny their original and exclusive jurisdiction on a matter between two states. And they did. And so what the crisis ends up being is we have an administration that reads themselves into office contrary to the electoral votes that are affirmed by the Congress. And then I suppose the answer is impeachment. The practical answer is at some point this becomes civil war. And don't get me wrong, it's too late. It's too late for me to say it. I know we're already tiptoeing into the realm of civil war coming from the other side. I understand that there are disenfranchised voters either way, right? Like, I get it. We're talking about an extreme political step of literally grasping power against the will of the states that put forward the issue. I think it is a very unlikely outcome. It is a last straw sort of outcome, and I don't believe that either Trump or Pence think that their re-election is that critical. I really don't. I mean, I think they definitely want to be, reelected, I think they will do a better job than Biden. I think they feel they are better for the country. And on all of those points, I agree. I don't think that either Trump or Pence believe that they hold a mandate strong enough to justify such a radical action. So, I don't, again, this is the danger of shows like mine, Barnes, Frey, Uncivil Law, is we tell you about like the hypotheticals, the far out possibilities that are there, and then people think that those are reasonable, or since they're theoretically legal, that they would be pursuable and attainable. That would be such a risky move. And I personally would be terrified of what follows. So, I don't think that's going to happen. It is a possibility. It's something that must always be considered, but I think it's really unlikely. And you know, people have been looking for the unlikely to come in and save the day this whole time. They've been looking for it. But yeah, it hasn't happened. So we'll see. It's Viva Fry, not Viva Frey. Well, he better come on and tell me how wrong I am about his name. No, I'm just kidding. I really like Viva, and I'm hopefully going to be doing some daytime shows coming up here soon where Viva can participate. I'm not terrified now. I'm not as terrified now. No, I do think at some point people will settle in with the results, depending on what happens going forward. Okay. Angel's Envy finished rye. This is a rye whiskey finished in Caribbean rum casks. I'm going to say this before I even review this, since I've had it. I strongly recommend this. This is a terrific whiskey. So we're going to do this the slow review way. This is I think this is 100 proof alcohol. Where the hell is it? Yeah, 100 proof alcohol. So it's not a super high proof, but it's above your standard tier. Your standard tier. Type it in the chat. Okay. Angel's Envy finished rye. There you go. Corono. Angel's Envy finished rye. Okay. So not a super strong alcohol, but not a weak one either. It's great. It is like $90 a bottle. So it's not cheap. If you're looking for a cheap whiskey, this is not it. But it's a worthy $90 bottle. Okay? Here we go. Oh my goodness. It's really smooth. It does not burn. Got a little tingle. The flavor on it is rye, but the rye is actually subtle. What really comes through is, I think, coconut. I think it's the coconut from the rum casks that comes through really, really well. I have a rum that I got in Hawaii that is a toasted coconut rum, which tastes like drinking candy. Gotta spend that CIA cash on something. Voracious Blackstone. I don't like coconut either. But this, it's like a very subtle hint. It adds a sweetness to the rye that is purer than like a wheat sweetness that you typically get in a whiskey. Like Maker's Mark bourbon has a lot of wheat in it, I believe, and they sweeten it up a lot. I don't like Makers at all because of it. And anyone who drinks Makers is terrible for liking it. These are jokes. It is okay. I don't like Makers because it's such a sweet whiskey, and the sweetness comes from a lot of wheat. And this is very, very good. This is very, very good. But yeah, it is a little pricey. It is a little pricey for, especially for an American rye. But Angel's Envy is not a cheap liquor in general. It's not a cheap liquor in general. It's a little bit of a higher priced American whiskey. So it's good. Yeah, Corona, that's it. It's very, very tasty. One of my stronger recommendations. You know, this is typically I like a smokier whiskey, or I like a really strong bourbon with a heavy, a heavy corn presence in it. This is outside of that. If you don't like a bourbon, if you don't like a smoky Scotch or a peated whiskey, this is a good alternative. So, how does it compare to, say, Woodford Reserve? Oh, I would pick this over Woodford any day, except you can get 2 bottles of Woodford for the price of this. So, take that how you will. If you want a nice special occasion whiskey, this is a nice one. This is a nice one. And yes, I have tried both Bullet and Buffalo Trace. Very, very solid. Bullet is a great bar whiskey for me because the Bullet bottle is always fresh and it's always delightful. So, okay. Let's hit a couple more of these chats, and then we'll talk a little bit about Road Rage, and then we'll get into the Doompills. The Doompills. R.W. Bimby. R.W. Bimby says, no war, just peaceful Texas secession. Who would start a war over some guys peacefully walking away? I don't know. You cannot... I want to clarify something. In the eyes of the Union, you cannot secede from the Union. You cannot do it. You have to have the approval of, I believe, 2/3 of Congress or 2/3 of the state, something like that. There is not a peaceful secession where you say, nah, fam, I'm good, and walk away from the Union. It's not how it works. Because the Union is a set of mutual promises, and the Union has to have a say in where one part of the Union decides to stop doing them. This was adjudicated in Texas v. White, I believe, and that was after the Civil War, in which the Union, who won, the Supreme Court of the Union, who won the war, got to tell Texas, who was on the losing side, that what they did was illegal. So, it may be stupid. It is why Civil War exists when people try to secede. Actually, I mean, it's very reasonable, though. If you think about it this way, right? If you have an agreement with a contractor to build a house, and your agreement is to give them money and they will build a house, and then you give them money and they start building a house, and then they say, nope, I'm peacefully seceding from this contract, then, well, you don't get your house. But that was the agreement. That's what you gave them money for. That's what you maybe hired subcontractors to help out with. That's what you got inspections for, or permits. You relied on their promise of what they would do, and then if they just decide not to do it, you don't have the thing that you wanted. Or if you've got a store, and you've got, because that's a one-time thing, right? So let's say you've got a store and you make a deal with a supplier. That supplier is supposed to send you 250 gallons of ice cream every week. And then, of course, your one supplier is probably going to send you more than just one product, but we'll say you're an ice cream shop. Here you go. They're going to send you 250 gallons of ice cream every week, and you're going to open your store and pay your employees relying on that 250 gallons of ice cream. If they suddenly say, we're peacefully seceding from this, despite you having a clause in your contract that says this is an ongoing relationship and you must give a certain amount of notice, and they don't give notice and they just say, we're out of it, and you don't approve, well, you're injured. You can't open your store anymore. You can't sell ice cream. And so you can't do the thing you wanted to do. But yeah, so that's kind of the theory. The idea is that we're in a contract or a compact of these states, of these United States. And so that's how the courts have looked at this in the past. Now, practically, right, like if you just secede, then the other party has two options. They can accept your secession or they can fight you and subjugate you again. Those are the options. So I don't think we'll see Texas secede. And no, Texas does not have a right to secede under the Guadalupe Treaty. No, they don't. They don't have that. It is long gone. That is not a thing that they have. I know that is a very lingering idea that Texas can just, we can just back out whenever we want because of this Treaty of Guadalupe. No, they can't. Can't do that. So I just want to clarify that. That's not a thing. If they want to secede, it's just like everybody else, which is you walk away and risk consequence of war. Cloud Duel, I do not hate Texas. I love Texas. I love the fact that despite me telling Texas that, Texas will tell me hey man, fuck you. I do what I want. I love that about Texas. It's my favorite thing on the planet. I grew up with a superhero from Texas, which was a fucking garbage can with the Texas flag on it, walking around being buff. I love Texas. I love everything about it. If I could live in Texas again in an easy way, I probably would. It's great. I have tons of family there. I love the food. Everything about Texas is awesome. So don't at me on Texas. If it were my way, the Texas Republic could be its own independent nation and piss on everybody else, just like it did in Revolution. Actually, in season 2 of Revolution, when they went to the Republic of Texas, I died laughing. That was actually one of my favorite parts of the whole show. I'm like, hey, they're in Texas, and you've got all these different things, and then Texas, and it looks the same as it always looked. God, it's great. Inverted y-axis. I grew up there, man. Okay. So anyway, Stooge Muffin Stuffin says, next time get a body pillow of Motoko Kusanagi. She's way better than Yoko and best waifu. Let me clarify that this is later in Gurren Lagann when Yoko is older. FBI, please leave me alone. Ryan Murray says, cheers, Nick. Great to hang out with you and Lady Rackets again this weekend. Oh, yeah, buddy. How you doing? Drinking some 1792 full proof tonight to make up for the whistle pig I didn't get to try. Time to talk about that. So, I made good on a promise. I just dropped a piece of glass on my floor. I'll find it at my foot later. I made good on a promise. I bought. You guys think. Stupid. Okay. You guys think this bottle of Angel's Envy is expensive. I bought for Road Rage Los Angeles a $450 bottle of Whistle Pig. Whistle Pig Boss Hog. The Samurai Scientist Whistle Pig Boss Hog. Okay? I bought this. And I bought this for a March get-together. And look. This is my bottle that I bought for me and people that I share it with people that I know here in town. or who come to visit me. It's almost gone. But I bought a second bottle, and I didn't touch it since March. I was waiting. I was going to bring it to Road Rage Los Angeles. That got canceled by Governor Cuxum Newsom. Cuxum? Gavin? Cuxum? I don't know. Gavin Newsom. And I said, I wanted to bring it there, but that didn't work out because they shut down Los Angeles. So I said, I will hold this. I will not drink this bottle of exceptionally good whiskey until the next fan gathering, and then I will share it with anybody I can. So, Friday night. Friday daytime. Lady Rackets and I leave the Airbnb. I was staying in the Airbnb with Dick Masterson and Ryan Long, with basically the show cast, except for Ethan Ralph had his own place. Mersh and Royce have their own place because they're semi-local. So it was me, Carl from who are these podcasts, Mad Cucks, also known as Tab, from Here's What I Don't Get, and it was also Ryan Long and Danny Polishchuk. Actually, I think Danny Polishchuk didn't end up staying there for a different reason. But yeah, so we're there. I didn't share this with them. I saved it, but we left the Airbnb Friday morning or early afternoon or whatever to go meet some people for lunch. And we dropped this bottle of Whistle Pig in the room, in their hotel room, because it was really close to the venue we were going to for the party, the get-together gathering in the evening on Friday. And so we brought the bottle to their room, and then we left it there. And then later in the evening, when we're all going to this place, I had a misconception. Yes, Ryan Long, the comedian. I had a misconception. Someone said we were going to Gasper's Grotto for the party on Friday night, and I assumed that meant that we would have a section of Gasper's Grotto. We would have a section of it to ourselves, like for people to get together and drink. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll bring this bottle of whiskey with me, and they'll let me open it at the bar, and then we can just pour some shots and drink it. That'll be fine. I've done this at other bars, but Friday was not like that. Friday was open to the public. There are 1 million people there, and they wouldn't let Drexel bring a bottle of water in. So they certainly weren't going to let me bring in a bottle of whiskey. So I left it at their room for a while, and then I met up with a guy from the Dick Show Facebook group that I've long had a rivalry with, Stephen Bailey. He's a mod, and so you know what mods are. We won't say any F slurs here, but he's a mod, or was a mod, and so he and I had some friction in the past. But of course, that's all just jokes on the internet. He's a really nice guy, and when I mentioned that I had this whiskey that I wanted to grab, but these other people wanted to kind of go back to their room, he's like, "Oh, you can put it in my car." So I go and get the whiskey from the people, and I share some with them and a couple people there. We all have a shot of whiskey. It was great. And then I bring it back and then meet up with him. We put the bottle in his car. Okay? Okay. The evening progresses. Coming near the end of the night, bar's closing down, and a buddy of mine goes with Mr. Bailey to go get the bottle from the car. So he goes, he gets the bottle, and it comes in this nice box, okay? It was this nice box, these little latches, and they latch on to the bottom, all right? There's two. And we've drank about a third of this bottle. And he hands me the box, and I grab it by the top thing. And one of the latches must not have been fastened because it falls straight to the fucking concrete. And this is what was left. This travesty, this atrocity is what happened. However, I can't explain physically how this happened, but it fell straight down and landed like this and stopped. Okay? So it actually had about a third of a bottle of whiskey sitting in the bottom. It stayed in there. It was sitting on the ground, almost full to this brim with whiskey. And so here I am at 3 a.m. on the side of the road in Ybor City in Tampa. And I'm pouring, like I poured one guy, he had a little cup, and I poured some into his cup. And then Mad Cucks and other people are sitting there drinking from the bottle like this, trying not to get glass in our eyes. There was no glass inside the bottle because God is a wise and loving God. So all in all, we did get about 2/3 of the Whistle Pig down. Without anybody dying. I did bring the bottle back to Minnesota. I kept the top because it's such a nice little pewter top that they did. So anyway, it's great. I don't think you can get the Boss Hog Samurai Scientist anymore. I actually had a glass of the 7th series Boss Hog there in Tampa, which is really good and completely different. So it was very, very much a sad loss, but a very fun night. So. So there you go. There you go. That's what happened to the bottle. And that's why Ryan Murray didn't get a chance to try any. But several people did. Okay. R.W. Bimby says, contract between USA and Republic of Texas has the second amended Thames. How is USA doing holding up its end of the contract? NFA and CGA, that's how they breached. Texas leaves. Yeah, well, technically when Texas left the first time, it was the same thing. They breached on their promise to return slaves to their owners across state lines. And that was a big argument of the southern states, was that slaves were escaping into different states, into northern or free states, and the free states were not organizing the return of the property of the southern states to them, that's a big part of why the Civil War happened. It was because there was a contract between states that was violated. Like, you can say that it was about slavery or whatever, and at some point it is about slavery, but it was also as much about the lack of enforcement of the concept that they had. So there you go. All right. Viden the Cold One says, the whiskey died for your sins. Missed you, Nick. Hey, I missed you guys too. I did miss doing the show. Here's the thing about Road Rage. They're a ton of fun, and I did bring my recording equipment with me to do it. To do some sort of show. There just isn't an opportunity. There isn't an opportunity to do that because you're doing something all day. You're meeting people you never get to see or interact with in person. You're hanging out. You're going out. You're enjoying your time. So I brought recording stuff. I didn't even take it out of my bag. Didn't take it out of my bag. So there you go. Oh my. Okay, what's next? Well, I guess maybe I should save the Road Rage chat for after the Doompilling. Let's do the Doompilling first. Can you explain the WHO non-Trump Wisconsin lawsuit and how the Antrim County document that the judge ordered to be released means? I I'm sure. Wisconsin had 2 lawsuits go to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. One of them was a victory for Trump, sort of. The other one was a loss for Trump. The loss for Trump was an attempt to overturn 200,000 votes. They said they wouldn't do it. Again, over and over, I have said judges are unwilling. Judges are unwilling to overturn hundreds of thousands of votes. Oh, by the way, guys, and I don't know if you're watching the view numbers. I see them regularly updating. I see them pop up and go down. Show the algorithm that it's a giant piece of shit and that YouTube can fuck itself. And please hit like on the stream. Please do that. That is very, very helpful to me. I don't ask for it enough, and I guess I gotta ask for it more. But yeah, YouTube's fuckery over and over and over again has done things just to actively impede stuff that you like from growing. And it's really, really frustrating for us who are out here trying to make stuff that you guys like and give it to you. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do in my entire professional life, is to make something that you guys like and will engage with and enjoy, and just put it out there so people can watch. And to have YouTube constantly come in and fist us from behind and say, hey, no, you can't do this. We're going to mess with the algorithm and prevent your content from going to as many people as possible, is just bullshit. And I'm so damn tired of it. So please hit like, tell YouTube you like it. Don't just do this to my video. I'm stingy with likes because I'm an asshole, but my policy changes now. I'm so tired of this. Like stuff, share it over and over. Just send it out. Like, if you like something, chances are there's a bunch of other people who like it. And let's remind everybody out there that, like, the reason that we keep getting shit shoved down our throat, like Last of Us 2, CNN, I mean, these are wildly divergent, but it's all garbage just shoved and just stomped down our gullets, is because we have to be the ones to tell other people where the good, entertaining stuff is. We have to go do it. And I'm not the guy who does it. I'm so bad at it, but I've got to start. And I'm going to be better at it. And so I'm going to ask you guys to help me be better at it by doing it yourselves. Just share everything. If you like stuff, if you like anything and you think someone else might like it, just share it. That's how all of us survive. That's how we keep making good stuff. And that's how you guys get to keep watching stuff you like. So there you go. Thank you. And expect me to probably bitch about this in the future. Because it's been over and over and over again. Like, I passed 93,000 subscribers today, and then YouTube algorithmically removed 40 or 50 of them. So I went down below it. And it's just fucking great. All we want to do is just make stuff. All I want to do is help YouTube make money and make content that people like. So that's it. So help us do it, please. I know the places to share the tech giants that hate us, but that's also where everybody is. Just share it. I'm going to have to start sharing live streams on Facebook, on everything. Got to share it everywhere, I guess. Because we got to outdo. It's just like the election. Election fraud is a problem. And at some point, it does tip the scale. But the way, as we're seeing with this election right now, the way to undo it is to outvote the fuckery. And you should put that on a shirt. Outvote the fuckery. We have to be the guys that overturn it by just getting out there and doing it. I am looking at alternate platforms. Utreon, Rumble. I don't know if Utreon is streaming. I know Rumble's working on streaming. I'm going to look at some alternative things. If they start adding streaming, I will multi-stream to them. Well, I'm going to have to do something different because YouTube is determined to stop growth. So anyway, Vine the Cold One said, wait, I read that one. The Pie Baker says, yo, Nick, I'm real happy for you, and I'm going to let you finish, but chat, one of our video on demand viewers is growing their Etsy store search, or their Etsy store. Search for Meshrock Crafts for handcrafted chainmail and jewelry needs. Now back to your regular programming. So that's from the Pie Baker, Meshrock Crafts on Etsy. If you like handcrafted chainmail and jewelry, go check them out. Do I have Parler? I do have Parler, and I'm going to be using it more and more. I'm strongly considering not using Twitter starting in 2021 for anything other than show announcements, and wholly moving over to Parler for speech, commentary, and opinion. So he didn't give me a link, so it's Mesh Rock Crafts. There you go, Baneling. So I'm strongly considering it. I'm not. I think Parler's got some work to do. It's a better interface than Gab, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm so tired of the big tech shit and how they treat people. Oh, we are gonna Doompill on Pornhub a little bit later. MasterCard put the BBest of C's, the BBest of C's on Pornhub. I can't believe that's not getting memed. Like all the orifices in the word Pornhub getting MasterCard shoved through them or whatever. We're going to talk about that very, very soon. It's the banks. It's the banks. Didn't I say fuck Parler? I did when Parler's terms of service was shit. They've changed their terms of service. I don't know. You gotta be somewhere. That's the problem. You gotta be somewhere. So, it's the fucking banks. We've got to get a hold on the banks, and we've got to stop them from doing this, or else it's over forever. All right. Let's do the election stuff. Let me pull up this Viva and Barnes clip and get it to the right spot. And again, I strongly recommend, even if you don't like the, well, how do I word this? Viva and Barnes is a good show, even if you disagree with what's going on. In fact, that may be a criticism, a valid criticism of Barnes, and I've seen it levied, is that he's putting on too much of a show and not enough of the analysis. Look, I mean, that's some people's opinions. That may be right, may be wrong. I don't know what's in Barnes's head, but it's a good show. Let's take a peek at where we are. I don't think he has these timestamped because he doesn't have a good boy like Agrilith to really help him out, apparently. So this is about where it starts. Let me see. I know it's muted. Don't yell at me yet. I want to. Okay. Here's where we're gonna start it. I'm gonna let Barnes talk. We're not gonna go through this whole video. We're gonna go through a little bit. You think Barnes is on point? I mean, Barnes has been a very good hype man on this, but I think he's sounds really critical. I don't mean any disrespect to Robert Barnes. I really don't. But Barnes has been very effectively leading people to the conclusions that they want to hear, but those conclusions haven't materialized. They just haven't. And I'm not going to ascribe a motive to that. Like I said, some people say he's putting on a show. Other people might say that he's got some sort of interest in it. I don't know what it is. I think what I said before and what I stand by is I think it's just in the way that as lawyers you both predict and project in different roles, and I think he mingles those two. Barnes projects what he thinks should be the outcome, as I've been known to do as well, and I, he very adequately words it, but it can be read in a certain way, and I think a lot of people are reading it in a certain way. And like I said, I'm not going to say that Barnes predicted anything wrong, because I've listened to him, and he talks the same way I do on a lot of things, where we talk about what would be great to happen, and then we talk about what we think will happen, and those two things can be different. And so Barnes has been presenting sort of the alternatives, but he's been favorably presenting the side he wants. That's normal. That's not a bad thing. But a lot of people have been, very favorably listening to that and maybe not catching the nuance of it. And so that's been kind of a tough thing. It happens to me too, by the way. Barnes is not the only guy. Barnes is not the only guy who this happens to. But here we go. I say Frey. It's Viva Frey. Viva Frey. But here we go.
As well as being a Scalia clerk. And so, so that you would be there. There was a second school of thought that said if they weren't going to get involved prior to the election,
this is like 5 seconds
definitely not going to get involved after the election.
So here we go.
That they have chosen to not get involved in this election for whatever reason one may infer, and we can get into some of that. Well, we got the answer, unfortunately, on that. This was as good a case as could possibly be brought.
I agree fully with Barnes on this. The Texas case was very, very good. It's written really well. It is presented and argued very, very well in the document. It's a polished thing. Barnes is going to talk about like what that kind of indicates. I talked to Ty. His opinion before Barnes had even said this, when I talked to Ty, his opinion was the exact same. This has been in the works for a while. Ken Paxton's office has probably been working on this for a while. It may be the source of some of the complaints against Ken Paxton by his staff. But I don't know if that's the case or not. But it's a very, very well crafted lawsuit.
In terms of, particularly because of how many people joined it. It's not just Texas. You're talking about 20 attorney generals represent almost every attorney general. In fact, we'll get into the one who wasn't there. But almost every attorney general of any Trump state that was Republican supported the case.
Lots of support for it. It all amounted to nothing in the Supreme Court, of course. I want to address a chat, not a super chat, a regular chat from One Logical Man real quick, because this is the issue I think some people are having. One Logical Man says, Barnes has consistently said that we're in Act 2 where the hero loses, rather than Act 3 where the hero triumphs. The fact that people are reading more into what he's saying isn't his fault. Look, let me give you the biggest of Doompills. Act 3 hasn't been written and may not make it to production date. Let me make that worse. Act 3 likely won't make it to production date. There will probably not be an Act 3. I have to, this has been the consistently tough message to deliver, because people don't want to hear it, and I get it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to be the guy saying, Uncivil Law doesn't want to be the guy saying it either. We would much rather have Trump win. But the idea that there's an Act 3 coming where everything is cleaned up by a great Deus Ex Machina because Mike Pence reads off only Republican electors and Trump sweeps the entire fucking vote is really, really, really unlikely. And some of us have been saying over and over and over again that these lawsuits are likely to fail. And when I said the Kraken lawsuit probably wasn't going to go anywhere, people jumped all over me when I said Lynn Wood's lawsuit. Well, I said it was good before I read that it was him. And then once it got dismissed for lack of standing, and I said, yeah, his appeal probably isn't going anywhere either. When I said the Pennsylvania suit the appeal wasn't going to go anywhere because SCOTUS doesn't have anything to latch onto. The two cases that I thought were good were the other Pennsylvania suit, the one that's not Trump, and then the Texas suit. Those are the two best cases. The Supreme Court rejected them. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. And I don't want that to be the answer, but shit. It's just the answer that we've been consistently getting. Courts are not going to overturn the votes. I think I said it the day after Election Day, once the legal challenges started coming up. Going to have a real hard time finding a judge to overturn votes. And people get real, real mad about that. And it's been true all the way through the Supreme Court. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
And, you know, they're not going to support it based on a frivolous argument. They're not going to risk their reputations and legacies and careers for some gibberish. And it's why Professor Dershowitz, whose highest form of praise for any legal argument is to call it creative, called it very creative as part of it. He thought it was still a Hail Mary because he thought the Supreme Court just won't come to Trump's defense. But he sees that as a political decision.
One thing I do want to point out, nah, never mind. That's good. Dershowitz is ultimately right. The idea of the celebrity lawyer needs to probably be dispelled. Because they do well, like on something, and then they're expected to do well on everything. And there's a real risk there. Lawyers do lose. Like, lawyers who say that they don't lose are weird. And they probably haven't been practicing very much. I mean, I did really well in the hearings that I had to do, but I didn't do a ton, and I don't attribute that to my skill. It was the cases that I got were really favorable outcomes. Like, there wasn't some particular thing I was doing that made it better. And at the end of the day, most of my job ended up being negotiating what the result was in favor of my client. Like, that's a different set of skills that has nothing to do with what the legal arguments are. At the end of the day, in these types of cases, you've got a legal argument, and then you've got people deciding if the legal argument was valid enough. And there's too much involved to be like consistently correct or some sort of superstar lawyer who always gets these things. Nobody does. Nobody always gets them right.
Decision, not a legal one. And so it was a brilliantly done, brilliantly crafted decision. They got widespread support. They completely ambushed the other side who wasn't ready or prepared to answer it or respond.
This is all great.
And it was all just based on one big gamble.
True.
Would the Supreme Court step up to the plate or not? And ultimately the answer was they're going to hide and dodge and hide under their tables.
Anthony Perrone. I heard about the audio from Robert screaming. Does anybody have that audio, like a link to it? I would we could play it right now. I would love to.
And so, you know, there was some evidence that was where they were going to go based on their complete abject failure to meaningfully do anything prior to the election outside of one case, which was in a state that didn't matter. But, you know, now we know just how bad it is. And particularly the fact that all three Trump appointees hid speaks volumes. And it's
this is a very good point by Barnes. And it's something that I mentioned a couple times. During the Amy Coney Barrett hearings, she refused to recuse herself, which was the proper thing to do. And I suggested that she might recuse herself when it actually came to an election lawsuit to avoid the appearance of impropriety. She didn't recuse herself. Neither did Gorsuch or Kavanaugh, but all of them voted against Trump on this. And Barnes has chalked this up as a lack of support. He compared Trump to Bush and saying they would have never done this to Bush and yada, yada, yada. And maybe that's true. I don't know. That's an impossible claim to verify. But it is true that none of the justices that Trump appointed voted with him on this. And I think that speaks to the justices' perception of the integrity of the court. I don't think that speaks to the integrity of the court. Don't mix that up. I think it speaks to the perception that justices have on what the integrity of the court looks like. And that is something that has been strongly in my mind personally since Roberts' decision on Obamacare. And I was in law school when that was decided. We had to read the case as part of the curriculum for a constitutional law class because our con law book was literally supplemented by the Obama decision while I was in it, while I was in con law. So, that is what happened. And I think that that's when I really started to become aware of perceptions of legacy and perceptions of Supreme Court propriety were real considerations that the judge, because I'm like, just follow the law, bro. Like, that's me, right? Just follow the fucking law. That's the simple answer. Just follow the law. They don't do that. They are, at some extent, political monsters that are created by a political process. And they do have political considerations about personal legacy, about legacy of the court, Roberts especially. This is the Roberts court. The Roberts court has been great on free speech issues. The Roberts court has been very fucking bad on Second Amendment issues. Okay, so that legacy is something that chief justices consider because you've heard of the Warren court. Those legacies do last, and they shouldn't matter. They shouldn't matter, but they do to them. What they write in their opinions will matter to them because they will last forever. So, no, I've not seen the forensic audit report for Maricopa County. So, I'm not going to talk about that. But does anybody have that Roberts audio? If you send it to me on Twitter, I will gladly pull it up. So let me know if anybody's got that. I'll try and find it in a minute. Let's get back to this audio here from Barnes and Viva.
Probably not a coincidence that the man they really thank for their position, Mitch McConnell, the only attorney general who did not appear in defense of these arguments from a Trump state that was a Republican attorney general, was Mitch McConnell's protege, Daniel Cameron, in Kentucky. So I got some criticism previously for pointing out Cameron's connections to McConnell and the way he handled the Breonna Taylor case. But now you get to see egregious examples of it. And, why wasn't he there? Why wasn't he involved? What was it what did that signal to everybody that he wasn't? Why has Mitch McConnell been so quiet? This is what happens when we appoint Federalist Society Supreme Court justices that stab Trump in the back the moment they get the chance, and that's what happened.
This is another thing about Barnes that I'm not going to disagree with him on. This is just way outside of my scope. Barnes has a particular distrust and dislike of Federalist Society, commentators, judges, lawyers. I don't know anything about it, but he has been heavily pushing the political angle of the Federalist Society, and it's why he doesn't like ACB, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, because they're all Federalist Society appointees. Now, that they, without knowing, it can, I'm not saying he's wrong because I literally don't know, but it is very convenient when everything goes kind of the way you think it will go to blame the reason that you think caused the thing. Not the same thing, right? Like if I say my car's going to break down because the Chi-Coms, the 2 million Chinese fucking Communist Party members who have infiltrated the West, are all my mechanics. And so then they have set up my car to break down on October 4th. And then my car breaks down on October 4th. Doesn't mean that the Chi-Com mechanics actually caused it to break down on October 4th. It just means that my car broke down, and now I've used confirmation bias to assert that I was right about the reason for it. So this is a clever tactic. And again, I'm not being critical of Barnes because he knows way more about this than I do. It's outside of my scope. But it is a convenient scapegoat to say, I said it was because of the Federalist Party. Then the thing that I said might happen, did happen, might happen, did happen. And so therefore, it happened because of the thing I said it happened. There are lots of other reasons that the Supreme Court might not have taken this case other than the Federalist Society. All of them are shit reasons, but it doesn't mean that the Federalist Society is the culprit.
Okay, but now, so I'm going to present the arguments that I've been hearing all week. People are going to say, Robert, you're salty, as the expression goes, because you probably had a significant amount of work tied up in there as well. Emotional investment, intellectual investment. But it was obvious. Why would the Supreme Court, what standing would Texas have to tell Pennsylvania that their laws are unconstitutional? Or if they want to do that, go to a Pennsylvania state court and don't ask SCOTUS to adjudicate on that issue. A lot of people are saying it was obvious from the get-go. And I want people to appreciate the two arguments.
Oh, sure.
Go for it.
Right, so a couple of things. One is, I'll get to standing. My own view, and I've said this in a wide range of contexts, anytime a lawyer tells me to take standing seriously, I never take that lawyer seriously ever again.
Let's talk about this for a minute. This is one of the issues that is a problem. Standing, dismissing this case and many cases on standing is bullshit. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Same with latches on election, constitutional election issues. Latches shouldn't even be considered. That is garbage. Okay? However, to ignore a serious issue in federal court that has been the downfall of federal cases in the same election, in the same sphere of argument, to ignore standing as a real problem and say that the person who brings it up is unserious is wrong. Like, it's just incorrect. There's no mincing words about this. Like, again, I like Barnes. He's a good dude. He's very, very smart. He's much more well-read on many of these subjects. And his arguments against the standing retreat are all, I agree with them. Like, Barnes is going to go talk about why standing is such bullshit, and I 100% agree. Absolutely. He's right. There is nothing wrong with what he says about how fucking stupid standing is as the dismissal reason for any of these suits. You've heard me bitch about standing dismissals with Lynn Wood. Like, I'm mad that Lynn Wood didn't consider standing. I'm mad that that other people's suits have been dismissed for standing when it looks like they did remedy the problems of Lynn Wood's case. I'm mad about all of that, and I agree. Standing is an effective tool for the courts to make a political decision into a legal one. He's right on that. But to say that someone who raises the issue of standing is not serious, that's not correct. It is an issue. It's wrongly decided, it's wrongly interpreted, it's not based in the Constitution, but it's there. It's like saying, look, anyone who considers Roe versus Wade to be good law, I don't consider them a serious lawyer because Roe versus Wade is unconstitutional. I'll agree with you all day. I think Roe versus Wade is an atrocity of justice, but it's still there. You still have to consider it. So anyway, that's one of the big points where I disagree with Robert Barnes, and that's where I think Uncivil Law had a big disagreement with him as well.
And that's because of the history of standing, which we'll get into. But the key component here that was unique, it was extraordinary. A wide range of commentary seemed to completely ignore the electors clause.
I fully agree. Like this is the problem. Barnes is right about all of this shit. I don't know why he so flippantly dismissed standing when it was the one issue that everybody commenting on it, probably even him. I know Viva commented on it, Nate the lawyer, Uncivil Law, me. Anytime I was asked, I said, look, they're probably going to say Texas doesn't have standing to bring the suit. It's a bad decision. It's the wrong decision. Supreme Court got it wrong, except they can't get it wrong because they're the arbiter of what is right. Supreme Court pussied out like a bunch of beta bitches. They let me tuck my penis back into my anus and walk away. That's what the Supreme Court did. Absolutely. But you have to consider that they will. And to not consider it is fatal.
This was not a situation of Texas suing Pennsylvania to deal with how Pennsylvania elected their state legislature. It was not Texas suing Pennsylvania about how they do pot laws. You know, those were the kind of cases that were leading the Supreme Court to find excuses not to take original jurisdiction.
And he's right. He's right. A state has no influence how another state enforces its own laws, except for a federal constitutional question when those laws impact and remove the effect of the state's right to send its electors to have a fair election. And he's gonna say that. I apologize, Barnes, for that pause. That is a horrific pause I gave you, and it's not personal. It's really unfair to you. He's right. That is to do this, to say that this is in any way similar to a state complaining about how another state, like for example, there are similar comparable issues on this. Weird Plush Show says it doesn't sound like Barnes is dismissing standing, but rather dismissing those that consider it viable. Yeah, but you have to consider it viable because it is viable and it's the reason the suit went this way. Maybe he was imprecise with his language, but taking him at the words he used, here's the hard part to know. Had Texas better considered standing, and I don't know if they could. Like, I think Texas made a great argument as to why it had standing. But had they better considered standing, maybe they would have won on standing and moved on. Probably not, but maybe. Had the commentators talking about the Texas lawsuit considered standing, their audiences may have known more about why the case would be dismissed and have been better equipped to say it's going to be bullshit. I mean, I don't think I have to tell you guys that it's bullshit that it was dismissed. I think you guys know. You guys are probably like, hey, you motherfucker, this is bullshit. And I'm like, I know. I'm with you. I love you. I'm with you 100% that this is garbage. I hate it. 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 The Supreme Court has abdicated its duty, its constitutionally mandated duty to hear this case. I 100% agree. But they did it on the one reason that I was like, God, fuck, they're going to do it on standing because they've done everything on something akin to standing. Procedural bullshit to avoid the question. So anyway, I don't know where that started because now I'm just pissed.
Which we can get to that as a separate matter.
Yep, absolutely.
But out front, the elector, what made this case unique is that first procedurally, it was an original jurisdiction case. The Supreme Court, the Constitution was set up so that if the state is a party between the states, that the cases should go to the U.S. Supreme Court as the trial court. And it was the place of resolution. And so that gave unique capacity to go around the rest of the courts and get quick, one way or the other, get quick approval or denial. Let's know now, are you in the game or are you out of the game?
And let me stop you there,
the easiest one for the Supremes to take.
So, some people were saying that it would have to go, that it's a state issue, so that only the state courts can deal with it. My response was, Supreme Court nonetheless can interpret state law when the question is brought up to it if it's of significant importance. So,
well, and not only that, under the Constitution,
No,
they're the only
no.
court that has jurisdiction.
Viva, love Viva. I think he's slightly imprecise on this point. The Supreme Court can comment on state law when it implicates a federal question. And when it comes to a federal election, this is Bush v. Gore, a federal election specifically for president, it does. When an election question that revolves around state law does automatically implicate a federal question because it implicates the federal constitution, the elections and electors clause, which is what Barnes is talking about. And I'm with him. I'm with him in spirit. My spirit is rubbing his spirit favorably. Automata says, so do you believe that all the Reason contributors like Robbie Suave are just puppets that parrot Coke talking points, because you need to follow their funding? Barnes said that as well, which doesn't strike me as 100% right. I don't know. And I think Barnes speaks in a very confident and forthright way about his correctness, which is probably why he's a very, very good lawyer and why he's a very compelling speaker. And again, I like him. I loved having him on the show. You learn a lot really fast. Barnes is a fast talker, and he's got a very fucking sharp mind, and he knows his history, and he knows his subjects very well. That mingles with opinion, right? If someone knows their subject really well, and they offer an opinion on something that's not really like the status of money influencing Reason.com contributors has nothing to do with knowing the constitutional or common law history of Article 3 jurisprudence powers. Like those are unrelated things. I know that Barnes knows his Article 3. I know that I can see and hear him that he knows his history really well. I don't know what that has to do with Reason.com and its contributions being impacted by the Koch brothers. Maybe he's right or maybe he's wrong, but he builds up a massive amount of credibility with his knowledge very, very quickly. And he deserves that credibility in the area that his knowledge presents. But then he's able to offer opinion in other areas, and it's a quick trick for us to append that credibility to the other section. This is one of my problems with Stephen Hawking before he mercifully died, was that Stephen Hawking did an article a while back about like social interaction and how important it was. And it's like, wait, Stephen Hawking doesn't know shit about social interactions. Stephen Hawking is a physicist and a mathematician who is crippled and also super rich, who divorced his wife to marry his nurse. Like, this man has no connection to normal human interaction, right? Like, but so he writes this article about how humans need to interact socially, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If you're talking about like physics and math, Hawking is a great man to listen to. If you want to talk about social issues, this guy couldn't know anything about it that any normal person can identify with. He has a fucking handicap ramp to his ivory tower. Okay? He talks like this because he cannot use his vocal cords. Right? Like, that guy is ridiculous. And to say that he should somehow advise us on how we should be interpersonally is nonsense. I know far more about interpersonal interactions than Stephen Hawking, and I will lay my dick on the table, and he will have to have his nurse handjob his first. Fuck that guy. Well, yeah, he's dead now, and he deserved it, to be honest. Okay, anyway. Dovin Death says, hey, Nick, this is a couple years ago that I was complaining about this. It was just analogous. It was just analogous to this because my whole point is that authority in one field doesn't translate to authority in other fields. And we have a tendency to impute authority where it doesn't belong. Michael Crichton talked about this with newspapers. Michael Crichton talked about it as an effect where he would read a newspaper about entertainment, something that Michael Crichton was an expert in, right? Publishing books, making movies, whatever it was. He was an expert in it. And when he would read an article about entertainment, he'd go, they've got this all wildly incorrect. And then he'd read an article about some other field that he doesn't know. And he'd go, oh, he just trusts the newspaper implicitly because of their implied authority and thoroughness on the subject and implied education. They don't have it. The mainstream media has been running. They have been running on this concept of neutrality, authority, and reliability for 60 years. And it's wearing off. It's wearing off very quickly. Daniel Schuler, I don't know any good attorneys for malpractice in Texas, but I know some good attorneys in Texas. And no, Ty Beard is not the only attorney I know in Texas. If you send me a DM, I will get some recommendations from some varied sources about who might be good. Send me a DM on Twitter or an email or something like that. Okay. Gelman amnesia effect, I think is what it's called. Tim talks about it a lot. Who's Tim? Oh, Tim Pool? Yeah. It's amazing. And that's not limited to mainstream media. It involves anybody who has me. And that's why I try to be very clear when I'm speaking outside of my field and when I'm giving my opinions on things, not my legal understanding of things. Or not my, whatever other expertise I might have, like, I don't know, whiskey or something. When I'm speaking outside of my education, I try and let people know. I'm like, look, I don't know about this. Even within the legal field, I don't do this type of legal work. I don't know. Patent law, I don't know patent law. I try to get opinions from other people. But, I try to be very clear on that because I want to avoid the Gelman amnesia effect. Lawyers have a reputation for projecting that they know the answers in every legal field, but you can't. You can't and you don't.
So if there's a dispute between the states, state courts don't have jurisdiction. No other federal court has jurisdiction. They have not only original jurisdiction, it's original and exclusive jurisdiction. So no other court can hear this case.
He's right.
So only the Supreme Court could hear it. And then that's what gave it its particular capability. Was it provided the quickest and easiest opportunity to get a yes or no from the Supreme Court, whether they were going to get involved or not. And it was the easiest.
You can see something. I paused this for this super chat alone. They don't address the super chat because Viva has got so many people watching. He's got, I think in this video, he got 15 or 16,000 at the peak, which is so fucking cool. And Viva's a great guy who deserves every single viewer he gets. Don't get me wrong. But notice what's happening in this chat. Would you be willing to have someone talk with you on your videos who can give a different perspective? Some viewers might be getting a little bit tired of sort of the rah-rah feel that they're getting from this. I'm not saying that Viva and Barnes are rah-rahing, although they may be. But some people are certainly getting that perception. And I think that's been coming through on their show. And it's been a mess. Oh yeah, Dove in Death. Thank you. He said he sent a super chat. I started reading it and I stopped. He says, "Hey Nick, I hope you had a good trip." I had a great trip. Guys, I got to bring Lady Rackets with me on a trip away from the kids for the first time this year. Now, I don't know how many of you are parents. We take our kids all sorts of vacations. We do tons of fun stuff. This year, my kids went to Disney. They went to Universal Studios. They had a private tour of Disney. They had a private tour of Universal Studios because their grandparents love them very much. I can't afford a private tour of Disney or Universal Studios. Their grandparents got them private tours of Disney and Universal Studios. which we got to participate in. We went to Disney outside of that private tour. We went to Busch Gardens. We spent almost a month down in Florida going to the beach, going and doing fun things. And this is both before lockdown and during lockdown. We love taking our kids places, but it's sometimes Mario Kart 13. You think because my $3,500 TV, by the way, you think because I spent $3,500 on a TV, I could afford a private Disney tour? Oh my goodness, buddy, I've got news for you about Disney tours. They're fucking ridiculously expensive. Ridiculously expensive. I would love to. I would love to do that. Maybe someday I will. For now, no. We love to take our kids on things, but we also want to have a couple days here and there throughout the year where it's just us and we just get to go have fun. And we had the great opportunity to do that. And it was absolutely lovely to have a trip with just me and my wife where we get to go be adults, not just parents. And that was a good thing. So we got to go out. We didn't have to worry about who was taking care of our kids because we had great people taking. My parents, came and took care of our kids and gave them a fun time. And then my kids have only gotten to see a little bit of their grandparents this year because of COVID shit. So it was great. Great all around. If Trump somehow, against all odds, manages to keep office, would you do a cosplay of Tuxedo Mask on stream? Those things are unrelated. Those things are very unrelated. I don't know. Maybe. Do it. Hi. I guess. Sure. If Trump pulls off the victory, I'll do the whole thing as Tuxedo Mask. I'll watch Sailor Moon for a couple episodes and get the voice down, and we'll do it. Okay? There you go.
Kind of case for them to take because they don't have to reverse or review anyone else's decision. And they can be the original court to hear evidence. And in addition to that, because of the original jurisdiction, they have authority to take it. And as Thomas, I think, correctly pointed out with Alito, he's brought Alito along in dissent. They have to take cases of original jurisdiction. And
Thomas and Alito have the correct opinion on this. It's something that gets brushed aside here. It's addressed later, sort of. Thomas and Alito agreed that they should not provide the relief requested. So let's not get too hasty on grabbing the pubic hairs off of the Pepsis or whatever. Thomas and Alito both said that the concurring opinion or the dissenting opinion concurred in the outcome that they should hear the case, but they should not grant the relief. So, which is true. Which is true. The tour only cost our group about $1,000 an hour. How is it out of your budget? Because I don't have the budget to spend $1,000 an hour on a Disney trip. I don't know about you. Woo! Okay. All right, let's keep going. Oh, wait. Sig7 says, thanks for doing what you do, Nick. I don't know if you're a religious person, but you're doing God's work. Keep it up. You know what? I have a failing. That I'd love to share with you guys. Because I am, I'm out in public, so I get to share all of my triumphs and failures eventually come to the forefront. And I have a failing. And it was right there that the guy said, I don't know if you're a religious person. I am. Now, some people believe that my religion should be dealt with in the same way that they deal with their religion, or that I should follow their their interpretations and moral codes, that I need to enforce my morality on other people, which I have never been a guy who enforces morality on other people. That's not my thing to do. I will give you my opinion on a subject every single day. I will never condemn you for yours. I don't think that's my job, because here's the real thing. I might be wrong on my moral interpretations. So I'm going to do and model and emulate what I think is proper behavior. For example, I'm in a monogamous relationship. We believe in the sanctity of that marriage, and we do not believe that that can be cast off. We raise our children to be Christian. We raise our children to love people, and sometimes that means sticking with people even when they do shit things. That's what we believe. Now we might let people know that we don't agree with their decisions, or whatever, but it doesn't mean casting off people. It doesn't mean casting off people groups because they disagree with us. It's just not how we do things. If that's how you do things, great. I don't. I would never ask you to follow my particular thing. What I do and how I believe evangelicalism works personally is I think I model what other people would want out of their life with my family, with whatever. And then I hope that they look to all of the factors that bring me to that. I hope they go, man, how did this guy do this thing? How did this guy get to where he is? Because I would like to be there. And when I do that, I just hope that someone goes, oh, hey, this guy's a Christian. This guy does this. This guy does this. Maybe that's a part of it. And if they don't, they don't. And if they do, they do. So, but that's my failing, is someone saying, I don't know if you're a religious person. Now, maybe it's because you just haven't experienced the show or you knew. That's fine. But I will work on that. I will work on that. Okay, here we go. Back to this.
And that these courts, now the problem has always been this. What if they don't? The problem with giving the Supreme Court the exclusive and original jurisdiction without any place to appeal to is that what if they just say, screw it, we're just going to ignore the fact that we have original jurisdiction and claim we don't? Unfortunately, there's no remedy there.
Well, and
people,
sorry, I want to make sure people appreciate also the distinction where standing might be an issue, where it is, like you said, not a case of Texas just telling Pennsylvania to adjudicate on an internal law that is only affecting Pennsylvanians, speed limit, building codes or whatever. The argument, that's the way people wrote it off. They said Texas has no standing to get involved in Pennsylvania laws, period. As if all laws within the state of Pennsylvania are limited in their impact only to Pennsylvania. Tim Pool had an analogy, and I forget what it was, but basically the idea here is you have multiple tenants in a building, and some of them are behaving in a way that's going to get everyone, that's going to affect everybody's peaceable enjoyment of that building. That's more the analogy with respect to the specific laws that they were challenging. They were not going after, illegalized pot in Colorado. They were saying Colorado has done something that's going to affect us as a state in a consequence, and therefore.
Okay, I want to bring up something here because I remembered that I mentioned it earlier and then got off track. By the way, we're almost to 1,000 likes, and at 1,000 likes, we're at 984. I will drink a shot of Angel's Envy finished rye, and I'm already getting a little sauce. So, again, if you missed my rant earlier, like streams, share videos, do these things because we need to tell YouTube to fuck off with moderating, censoring, and stopping the spread of our content. Oh my God, you guys did it immediately. You're the best. This chat is the absolute best audience that exists. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Look, I've seen other audiences. They're pathetic. They're pitiful. I would never want another audience. I want you. You're the best audience, the best chat. terrific. Really, nobody's got a better chat than me. Nobody's got a better audience. And anyone who says otherwise, well, we'll send some missiles their way, maybe some drones like Obama did. And Obama, notice how that sounds like Obama? Bomber, Obama, probably related, but I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? We have the best chat. Terrific chat. Here you go, guys. As promised, a shot of Angel's Envy finished ride. Woohoo! Oh! Okay. Oh, hold on. It got above some air. I have to get the air up above the liquor. All right. What I was talking about earlier. You unliked it? Jimmy Walters? Damn it! What I was talking about, I can't see your dislikes now. I only see them later. What I was talking about earlier, Viva's bringing this up. It's not like a state comparing drug laws. Or, more importantly, this is the one we see frequently. Gun laws, right? Illinois says, oh, well, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, their gun laws are so lax that they bring the guns into our fair city of Chicago. Our fair, wonderful, ivory tower city, where no violence would occur in Chicago if it weren't for the guns brought in from Gary, Indiana. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen, that there is nothing about Chicago that inherently promotes violence. It's literally Indiana's fault. That is the problem. It's the gun. So under the theory that Viva is talking about, Illinois cannot sue Indiana for their gun laws, or Iowa, for example, right? They can't do that because their enforcement of the gun laws, though they do have an impact on Chicago, because of course they do. If you can't buy a gun in Chicago, but you can buy one in Wisconsin, you'll just go over to Wisconsin and buy a gun, bring it back to Chicago, and that's fine. You know why you'll bring a gun to Chicago? Has anybody asked the question as to why a reasonable person might go, holy shit, I live in Chicago. I should probably go to Wisconsin and buy a gun before I fucking die from all of the gangs that Chicago enables. Damn it. Anyway. Woo! Woo! So, Illinois might bring a suit against Indiana or Iowa or Wisconsin and says, hey, their gun laws cause harm to us. We see this actually in the Defense Distributed lawsuit, right? Where Texas-based Defense Distributed is sued by the New Jersey Attorney General, Gruber or whatever it is, Hans Gruber. Gruel. That guy, that motherfucker, sues him in Washington State and says, well, the Justice Department not criminally charging this guy somehow implicates Washington or New Jersey. And so we're going to sue him with Washington. That's bullshit. It's garbage. That shit's a disaster. That lawsuit's still going. By the way, there are now two lawsuits, or again, I should say two lawsuits over Defense Distributed. I'm going to try and get somebody on to help me unravel those lawsuits because there are so many filings in each one. I'd love to talk more about them, but catching up on them is really tough. But that's a very different thing, because saying that look, someone buys a gun in Indiana, it affects me in Illinois, is not the Supreme Court's problem. Because that's violating an Illinois state law to bring the Indiana gun into Illinois. That's a different thing. This is you casting a vote in Illinois that is unconstitutional under the federal constitution. Suddenly, Indiana or Texas or Georgia or Louisiana or whoever goes, holy shit, that unlawful, unconstitutional vote impacts me where I am. That's a big difference than a gun law, and that's what Viva's talking about. And I know it took me forever to get around to that. But look, you guys made me drink liquor.
For the court, we have standing in that we have suffered an injury in fact, in that it's going to dilute our legit votes which follow the law compared to those which allegedly didn't. And so that's the distinction in terms of the laws that were being challenged. This was not just...
Legionary Wizard asked if I've ever gone over Roe versus Wade on stream before, and I was just going to reply in chat, but now I'm drunk. No, I haven't, because, and you know this because my channel hasn't been banned and I'm not in fucking jail. So I've not gone over Roe versus Wade on stream before because you want me to boogaloo? You want me to fucking boogaloo? I will boogaloo over Roe versus Wade. It's the worst decision. It has led to the mass killing of blacks. I love black people. You know I love black people. My best friend is fucking Drexel. And Roe versus Wade has led to the killings of more black people than fucking anything on this planet. Police shoot black people for breakfast. Roe versus Wade kills black people all day long, and that's what it was intended to do. I fucking hate Roe versus Wade. If you want to know about the Social Security problem, if you want to know about the military enlistment problem, everything is solved by Roe versus Wade not existing. All of this country's problems. You want Republicans? You want fucking Republicans? Roe versus Wade kills Republicans. You know why? Because second generation poors want to be rich. Don't even at me. I have no statistics to back it up. It's just fucking true. It's just fucking true. The Roe versus Wade bullshit pisses me off. It's one of the worst decisions. They manufactured rights out of thin air. Rights that only exist for pregnant women who want to murder babies. Nobody else. Pregnant women who don't want to murder their baby, they don't have the rights under Roe versus Wade. You, as a non-pregnant woman, or you as a person who happens to have a penis, males are problematic. We don't want to talk about males. But individuals with penile genitalia, fuck you. You don't have the same rights under Roe versus Wade, and COVID fucking proves it. If Roe versus Wade was good law, every single thing about contact tracing would be unconstitutional. Think about that! Think about that. If Roe versus Wade was good law, then contact tracing by its nature is unconstitutional. Fuck Roe versus Wade. Fuck Justice Black or White, whoever wrote it. I don't even know who it was. I'm so goddamn mad. Kurt Mudgeon says, how so? Well, let me mansplain to you. Roe versus Wade says you have a right to privacy in your health care and in your body integrity. A right to privacy that is unassailable by government. What is contact tracing? Contact tracing says that when you get sick with le couf because it's French, because it's an F slur. French! That is the F slur. When you do that you have to report to government, to private entities, that you're required by government and private entities to report where you were at several given times so they can then reach out to other people and inform them about your medical condition. However, Roe versus Wade says that a woman who is pregnant, who wants to murder the fetus inside of her, has a right to bodily autonomy and a right to medical privacy that transcends all other rights and interests. All of them. To the point where you cannot put up a barrier that would reduce meaningful access to abortion. You can't even force a woman to look at the baby she's about to fucking murder with an ultrasound. Think about that. You can't even say, you know what? We want you to just look at it. We're going to go in there. We're going to stick tongs into your vagina, into your cervix. A penis doesn't even go in there when you want it to. We're going to shove tongs all the way up in. We're going to grab a baby's arms or legs and we're going to rip them off. And it's medically proven that a baby feels pain. Okay? We're going to tear them off. We're going to pull them out one by one. And then we're going to stick a vacuum cleaner all the way up into your cervix. Piper Perry doesn't even get penis into her cervix. And she's tiny. We're going to shove an instrument into your cervix. Actually, we're going to shove several glass rods in there first to dilate it. Then we're going to stretch it out after we give you some sort of numbing medication. And then we're going to shove a vacuum cleaner up in there. And we're going to suck out the remaining parts. That is going to happen. But what we can't do, because it would be, listen to this, because it would be too invasive. You can't put into the vagina an ultrasound scanner to show them that there's actually a literal fucking baby in there. Because the people going in to get an abortion are one of two things. They're one of two things, and you cannot overlook this. They're either they know there's a baby in there, right? And they're like, I'm fine with that. Let's kill it. That's a reality. Or the second option, they're too retarded to know that that's literally a human-shaped object that, if left untouched, will grow into a person. A full-grown adult. They're so fucking dumb that they don't understand that like if you shoot a 2-year-old in the face, it won't grow into an adult. That's the same thing, just scaled down to like 8 weeks or whatever, 18 weeks. That look like it doesn't take that long for a baby to look like a person. In fact, by the time you realize, especially by the time these fucking thoughts who have dicks through them all day and have so much semen in their vaginas that they don't know who the father is, that they find out that they're pregnant like 5 weeks later because they suddenly have a bulge and guys aren't attracted anymore. The time that they realize that they're pregnant, that's a fully formed fucking baby in them. It doesn't even have a vestigial tail anymore because it's got a dick sticking out because it's so much a fucking baby. And these women don't know because they're so uneducated. Intentionally uneducated to keep them poor, to keep them fucking impoverished, to keep them slaves to their government daddy, zaddy, waddy, whatever. I don't even know the slang anymore. All they want is that welfare check. That is the primary fucking market for abortions. Fuck everybody. Roe versus Wade is the most destructive decision the United States cuck Supreme Court has ever fucking rendered. And everybody who thinks that Roe versus Wade is a good decision, a rational decision, and a reasonable decision should fucking find a noose in Minecraft and then hang themselves over lava so they slow roast. Fuck them. Fuck you. Fuck Roe versus Wade. Fuck the Supreme Court. Kiss my dick. That's why you come here. If you like rants, if you like black pills, if you like shit, you better fucking like the stream and share it. God damn it. Woo! All right. All right. There you go. You do I believe in religion? Do I believe in religion? I won't cry because I'm not a fucking baby. But God is in every single one of those kids that gets killed. The literal image of Jesus Christ, who died for your sins or whatever, is in every single baby murdered under Roe versus Wade. And I have been inconsolably angry 2 times in my life. 2 times where nothing on earth has convicted me more. I'll tell you about them right now. First time, I was a foster parent. I don't know if you guys know. Some of you probably remember. I know many of you have been watching the show since day one. And I love the shit out of you for that. I was a foster parent. Lady Rackets and I were foster parents. And so you have to do mandatory trainings. And in one of the trainings, we had to watch a video of the results of child abuse. And that was as close to crying in public as I've ever seen. It's just picture after picture of kids with broken arms, kids with bruises and burns, and kids in body bags. It was awful. It was awful to watch. Oh, Legionary Wizard, don't look it up. Don't look it up, buddy. If it sounds horrific to you, don't watch it. I don't cry in public. You cry in private. That's what men do. Men cry in private. That's okay. But we don't make public displays of emotional outbursts because we portray strength. That's a male characteristic. It's not necessarily good or bad. That's not like, I'm not making a value judgment on it. It's just what we do, right? And if you cry in public, I may laugh at you. I don't care what the issue is. Don't cry in public. Glenn Beck, I'm looking at you. I love you, Glenn, but stop crying in public, please. It undermines who you are. Men don't cry in public, generally speaking. That was as close as I came. I was inconsolably angry. I was breaking everything around me at this training because we had to watch kid after kid after kid with physical evidence of real abuse. Oh, I was mad. I was a parent. I had 1 kid at the time. 1 kid at the time. And I was pissed. Now I have 5. You show me abused kids. You show me marks on kids. You show me that you did it. We get in private and we're going to have words or you dead. One of the two. Stop fucking hitting kids. Stop hurting kids. Stefan Molyneux, Memlenu or whatever it is, he's right about one thing. Don't touch your kids. Don't spank your kids. Touch your kids. And I failed at this too. I get it. We're human. It's not about the purity of it, right? I have spanked my children before because they deserved it. But they don't ever deserve it. They don't ever deserve it. Don't touch your kids. If you touch your kids, if you ever grab your kid in anger, if you ever spank your kid in anger, you better get on your knees and apologize to them profusely. But here's my line. Never leave a mark on your child. You never, ever, ever do it. If you ever hit your kid hard enough to leave a mark, you better pray to fucking God for the rest of your life for forgiveness. Pray. Because that's it. That's the only redemption that you get. The only redemption you get is that God built forgiveness into kids. And we're fucking lucky that he did. We're lucky that he did. God built forgiveness into kids. And he built a shorter memory on our bads than our goods. Okay? When we're adults, we remember bad things better than we remember good things. Let me tell you about kids. Kids remember good things better than bad things. They do. Until you cross a line, like there's a threshold for it. But in general, that's the forgiveness that all parents get, is that God built into kids' programming, like that they would remember the better stuff than the bad stuff. So they remember when you do a good thing. They don't remember as much when you gripe at them. But if you harm them, like really harm them, you better pray that that's one of the things they forget. You better not do it again. Okay? So, what I'm getting to here is, as adults, we remember pain that people cause us more than we remember good. Kids don't. That's lucky for us. That was the first thing where I was inconsolably angry. The second was a video that I watched where I watched on ultrasounds abortions and the aftermath. You know, like it was full-on graphic video of what they pulled out. If you've never seen it, if you've never actually seen what an abortion really is, not a late-term abortions are a meme. They're really a low number. They're awful. Late-term abortions are worse than anything I've described by fucking far. And people like Kermit Gosnell deserve the bullet. There's no other, not in Minecraft, in real life. Kermit Gosnell deserves to die by the state. Fuck that guy. Everything about him deserves death. Late-term abortions, largely though, by the numbers, are a meme. That's not where most abortions occur. They're horrifying. But the reality is that all abortions are actually horrifying as well. And if you don't know what happens to them, in them, and you have a real strong stomach for it, go look. But I watched a video where they showed, start to finish, a normal abortion that is not a late-term abortion. It was an abortion past like 12 weeks or whatever. Those are a little different. I wanted a sword and a shield with a fucking cross on it and a big ass round helmet. And I was going to take back Constantinople from whoever has it. I don't even care at that point. I was ready to reinstall the papacy until Francis came around. Listen, watching a video about what really happens during an abortion is the ultimate black pill. And I don't recommend you do it if you have a rosy view of the world. Look, if you think this world is largely good, as long as abortion exists, it won't ever be. Chopping off arms with machetes and shit in Africa is bad. Abortions are worse. They're really worse. And you guys, I'm not supposed to do this. This is supposed to be about an election. Why have you done this to me? Why have you done this to me? Anyway, I should probably stop talking about this before I doompill into oblivion. Polio64 says, poor Barnes and Viva just sitting there speechless during this. Oh, damn it. Oh, damn it. Bob the Troll King says, speaking of new gun owners, I was thinking about making a new channel that is all about sharing all the training I've had with self-defense, firearms, and survival. Who all would be interested? I'm still writing it. Bob the Troll King, I love the idea. Start it on a platform that isn't YouTube, because I'll tell you, one of YouTube's criteria for monetization is are there guns or pro-gun content in this video? If you do that, If you do that, you will never monetize your videos. And listen, guys, Barnes and Viva bring up something. I'm not going to get anywhere near it. It's way too late in this video for it. But Barnes and Viva bring up something important about these. They use locals. There's Rumble or whatever. I use Patreon. This is not a shill. This is not a shill for me. This is a general shill. I am at the mercy of YouTube. I have a legitimate fear that if I were to transfer to another platform, I wouldn't be able to feed my family or do the things I do for my family, pay my bills, pay for my research software, all of that shit. Because I would take a significant, if not fatal, income hit. I don't have an alternative to YouTube yet. I'm working. I'm going to build one. I'm going to build one because I know many people hate YouTube. And we have to do it. They talk about Locals. Locals has a $5 a month subscription. I'm talking about getting on Vox Day's platform that Razorfist is on. I can't remember the talk about it or what the name of it is. When I get alternate platforms, you will know. You don't worry about me. Even if you guys all stop supporting me, I'm still going to be here screaming and drunk because, you know, I'm an idiot and I like this too. Everybody else you like, literally everyone else you like, go find their Patreon. Give them $5. Give them $10. Get them off of YouTube's pitch. You guys give me so many super chats and I love it. If all of you gave me, instead of super chats, if all of you gave me $20 a month on Patreon, I could go to any platform on the planet and say the most black-pilled shit ever with no censorship at all. I could find it. I could find it. Or not even Patreon, PayPal, whatever it is. If what is it? In Hardcore History, they say, you know, if everybody who listened to Hardcore History gave $1, they would be able to do whatever show they want. It's the same for every creator you have. Every creator you have. If you give them a couple bucks, you give them $5. Go support Viva and Barnes Law on Locals. Go support, I love this guy, Strat Edgy Gaming. This is completely unrelated. Go support him on Patreon. Like, if you like gaming reviews that have profanity and like loose language and stuff like that and are just honest, go support a guy like that aren't worried about copyright bullshit. Supporting people off of the platform is critical to moving forward. And the reason that YouTube and Twitch and Google and Twitter and all that allow us to engage with people that we like for free is because they're selling your data. I don't care if Google has my data. I gave it all to them when I started a YouTube channel. They're selling your data. And what they bring up is it's more than $5 a month. So go support people on these alternative platforms. Do it. Give them an excuse to get away from these monopolistic oligarchs. Many of us would be happy to. So, all right. Just stop being a boober and set up a Locals page. There are people not giving you money currently because you're on Patreon. I'm also on Subscribestar. I want to be in one place though. Like, in all honesty, I want to be in one place. I don't like being in like 5 different places. It's so frustrating to manage. Anyway, here we go. The asterisk says, please clip and upload this rant about Roe versus Wade as relates to contact tracing. Invaluable point. I will do so. And Meshikiari Roos says, to be a devil's advocate about the struggle snuggle victims, should they be forced to deliver when they were not willing? Let's do it this way. Meshikiari. And I realize you're being a devil's advocate. I do. And it's a good point. And it's the hardest point for a pro-life position. I will give you 2 pills on this. 1, if we can get rid of all abortion outside of rape, okay? All abortion outside of rape and incest, we will eliminate something like 98%, more like 99.3% of abortion. So, if the compromise is rape victims and incest victims can get abortions, I 100% take it. It'll destroy the abortion industry immediately. Immediately. You would have to travel like 6 states to get an abortion at that point. And fuck yes, I'll take it every day. Okay? Next. Once we do that, then we can talk about it. But until we get rid of the convenience abortion, I'm not really here to talk about rape and incest abortion. My personal opinion on it, not a legal opinion, a personal moral opinion is this. Personal moral opinion is this. I believe fully that a birth is the ultimate red pill that gets people out of bad lifestyles into good ones. And we do have systems in place to take care of children. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you know this. Someone spurious, good friend of the show or whatever, says, who will take care of all those kids? Trust me, someone will. Because the abortion or the adoption industry has been absolutely destroyed by the abortion industry. And there are millions and millions of parents who would love to take healthy kids who are not equipped to take disabled kids. And they would be happy to take children. There are millions of infertile parents, well, hundreds of thousands to millions, somewhere in there, of infertile parents who would take kids. I personally know tons of people who would take kids. The hardest part about adoption in the US is 99.9% of the time you have to go through a foster care system because most people can't afford a private adoption. You're talking 15, 20 grand to do it out of pocket, no insurance, nothing. Unless you do it through the foster care system, in which case you're getting usually an abused or disabled child. And the people who do take abused and disabled children can be saints. They absolutely can. Most parents who want to adopt a child and can't would love to take a healthy child. There are tons of people who would take a healthy child if they could. And their abortions are not mostly disabled kids. They're mostly healthy kids. Mostly healthy kids. That's the other worst part about it. But anyway, we won't know. We won't ever know. That's my personal opinion on it. We won't know, but I can tell you with confidence the adoption industry in America has been absolutely destroyed. And if you want to know about it, go try. Go try. I encourage you to look up what it takes to adopt a kid. You know who has? This guy. I also know what private adoptions cost. And they're overly burdensome for anyone without means. An end to casual abortions will make a white people minority overnight. No, not even close. Not even close. Okay. Let's get through this video. We're almost done here.
Just challenging a simple local state law, as the argument would go. Supreme Court says no mas, no interest.
Yeah, and that's so the first part is original jurisdiction shouldn't even involve a standing issue. They should take jurisdiction and then hear it on the issue of whether they think standing exists. I'll get to that being just a made up doctrine, but that should have been.
All right, this is where I'm going to end the Viva and Barnes video because it's already 1:30 almost, and we're going to have to end the stream at some point. And this is the important part. He's right. Standing is a made-up doctrine. It was politically expedient for the courts to get rid of cases, and they came up with a couple different things: mootness, ripeness, lack of standing. Like mootness. we've talked about this on a couple videos. Mootness, latches, ripeness. Latches was the OG version. Mootness and ripeness came about later in the U.S. common law, but they're all the same thing, right? Mootness says, well, you have a real case, but too bad, it's already done. Ripeness says, well, you might have a real case, but it hasn't actually manifested yet, so too bad, it's not done yet, but you're done. Latches says you waited too long to bring the case, and now it's prejudicial to the other party, you're done. Even though you may have a valid case, too bad. It would hurt the other party to go the other way. And then standing. Standing says, well, there's a valid concern here, but you're not the right person to bring it. And the follow-up is literally because we decided you're not. Not because there's some objective standard as to who has standing and who doesn't. There isn't. There isn't an obvious answer to who has standing. The people who said that Texas wouldn't have standing largely did it out of either, and this is my hot take opinion. This is my hot take opinion. Is people who made the standing argument about the Texas case either did it fatalistically, like, oh, the Supreme Court just won't take the case, or they did it optimistically because they were ideologically opposed to the case. One of those two things. I made it fatalistically. I said, I think the Supreme Court will cuck on this and that they will dismiss it for lack of standing because that's the easiest way for them to get out of it. Not because I thought it was the right answer. I still don't think it's the right answer. That's just the way they could dispose of it. It's a doctrine created to dispose of cases. So, that's the reality on standing. Where is it historically? Where's it? Barnes will go on in this clip. Barnes will go on in this clip to say that standing has no basis in the Constitution. He's right. Standing was created in the 1920s, I think, or 1919, or in the 19-teens. He's right. It is not a historical doctrine. It doesn't have roots in common law. The courts were busy and they didn't want to deal with it, so they created standing issues. Now, Viva will I'm trying to be as fair as possible to them. Viva will contrast Barnes and say that he kind of agrees with the idea that there should be some standing test, but what Viva ends up kind of acquiescing to under Barnes' pressure is that what he's talking about is more about, do you have a case in the first place? Like, which is not a standing issue. That's a 12b6 merits issue. 12b6 is failure to state a claim upon which a court can grant remedy. 12b6 deals with the standing issue. Like, if you fall at a supermarket, right? Like, you slip on a grape. By the way, grapes are the _1 cause of falls at supermarkets. You slip on a grape and break your hip. I can't sue the supermarket because I might have slipped on that grape because I didn't get injured, right? So I don't have standing to sue. More importantly, I don't have a cognizable claim for which the court can grant remedy. That is dealt with under 12b6, not under a standing issue. It says that you don't have a claim at all. That's not standing. You have standing to sue a grocery store for whatever cognizable injury you have. Under 12b6, you just don't have a cognizable injury at all. This is the problem with the standing argument, is that the standing argument is extra. It is ancillary to the underlying issues of the case. It says that a particular party doesn't have a reason to bring the case because of we make up bullshit to say so. It doesn't say whether or not there's a claim. Texas has a claim. The Supreme Court has tacitly admitted that Texas has a claim under the Elections and Electors Clause by saying they don't have standing to bring it. Well, there's a claim here, but you're not the one to bring it. Well, and of course, we see the problem with that. The inherent problem with that is no one has had cause, or no one has had standing to bring any claims under any single court. And that's insane. Of course they do. Of course someone can bring a claim to say that someone cheated at an election. The answer we don't have from any court is who can. And that's the problem with all of this. This is the Barnes and Viva. That's the Barnes and Viva conclusion. Now, again, Largely, I agree with the reasoning Barnes has. I disagree with one of his major conclusions, and that is that standing is an issue that shouldn't even be considered. It absolutely has to be considered. And a lawyer raising a standing saying, look, lack of standing, you can't ignore that guy because that guy may be right. And in the case of Texas versus Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada or whatever, they were right. They were 100% right. Everyone who said lack of standing was right. The court chose the cuck way out. It's not because anybody likes it. It's because everybody realized that the court had an opportunity to cuck themselves. Can Trump bring the suit as a presidential candidate? Apparently not. Apparently no. And that's a hard claim, right? Javier Miedo. It's a hard claim. Does Trump have a right to the presidency? What right of his has been infringed? Texas has a better claim than even Trump. Trump might have the claim of one voter, himself, voting for himself. Texas says, you've invalidated our entire state's population, and you've invalidated our state legislature's ability to send electors to pick a president because you implemented an unconstitutional law. I legitimately believe this is the best possible avenue of attack they had legally. All right, let's talk very quickly about non-legal or non-judicial options. It is not over. It is not over, right? Every single electoral vote. Doesn't he have the right to a free and fair election? Yes, but it's the same as your right or my right to a free and fair election, which means he doesn't have standing. Because there's no particular injury to Trump over anyone else. I know it seems like there should be because he was going to be president if he wins. It's only if he wins and he doesn't have a right to win. It's weird. It's weird. Okay, let's it's over. Don't give us any hope pills. We're here for the black pills. None of these are hope pills. These are possibilities that are the most unlikely outcomes that we've never seen in human history. Okay? We have had a contested election. However, not like this. What it would take. All of the states, let's clear this up real quick. Every state has sent certified electors that voted the way of the reported popular votes. That means that every state has cast their certified electoral votes in the way that is predicted by the maps. That means 306 electoral votes for Joe Biden are certified. And I believe they were cast today because they made public their votes. Now, I guess it's possible that an elector lied about who they voted for, but that means that Joe Biden will have gotten 2 more votes than Trump did in 2016. Okay? 2 more electoral votes because Trump ended up with a couple faithless electors, got 204 or 304. Biden will get 306 electoral votes that have been certified by their states. Alternate electors have been sent. Alternate electors are, as far as I know, have not been certified by anybody in the state, either governors or congresses. They've been sent as alternates. Now, there's a difference. Dueling electors can be sent where a governor and a state congress send conflicting certifications. To my knowledge, that has not happened. Maybe it has, and I'm happy to be correct or incorrect on that. I'm happy to be incorrect on that. Okay? Maybe a report will come out that they were certified by the legislatures. I don't know. All right? Either way, alternate electors have been sent in to cast their votes, and those have been sent. That means that the federal Congress will have the opportunity to object to any electoral vote, any of them. Nixon in 1960. I don't know if that was the same situation we have now. I don't know. Because I'm not sure about the underlying facts of the two situations and if they're congruent. Now, they did send alternates or whatever, but I don't know that those alternates were particularly duelingly approved. So here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. Here's the ultimate outcome. When the electoral votes are sent to Congress, okay, Congress will, they will be read by Mike Pence. Now, of course, there is the possibility that Mike Pence will read and count only Republican electors in certain states. Maybe that's the case. Very unlikely, but it's possible. Possible. Don't hang your dick on it. It's not likely to happen, okay? I have to be very clear on this. It's so unlikely as to be absurd, but it's possible. Whatever he reads, the federal Congress has the ability to object to any electoral vote, and here's how they do it. One House member and one senator must take objection to each individual vote. So if you have a House member and a senator, they can team up and take objections to the vote. Those objections are then heard in the House and Senate, and they are decided presumably by a majority of House or Senate votes. There's some questions because this is so rare. There is no controlling law on this. So don't ever let anybody tell you they know how it will happen, because they literally don't. They literally know this whole election, all of this stuff. No one knows how this will go. We can just make best guesses. It might be a majority of the House. It might be a majority of House delegations. Barnes argues that it should be House delegations, which would be a Republican-favored outcome. However, Barnes also acknowledges that in the previous times that anything like this has happened, they've not used House delegations. They've used majority House votes. So, which the correct way? No one knows. There's no one who knows. There isn't a solution. I'm sorry to say there is not a direct answer. But the House and the Senate, in some way, must vote on the outcome. All right? And if they agree, then that elector is picked. If they disagree, then the elector who casts the vote that they're challenging is picked. Okay? So that means if Mike Pence reads the votes as they occur, 306 votes for Biden, if a challenged vote comes up for Biden, it goes to the House and the Senate for discussion and a vote. If they vote to, if the House votes to accept it because it's for Joe Biden and the House is Democratic, and the Senate votes to reject it because they're Republican and they're for Trump, the vote goes through. And that's it. There is no Supreme Court argument about it. It's just how it goes. If Mike Pence reads the Republican vote as the correct vote, and then they object, and then there's a split, the Republican vote is the winner. Again, don't get your hopes up on this. So it's a really, really increasingly long shot proposition that there will be anything other than 306 votes for Joe Biden. It's possible. Again, don't hang your hat on it. It's unlikely going to happen. It's unlikely. But that is how it can happen. That's how it can happen with Mike Pence reading Republican names as electors and Republican electoral counts. It can read as it can be as contested, where the House and Senate go, yeah, we should elect the Republicans. Unlikely, as we have a split, and they're likely to choose Democrats in the House. Or you can have Mike read the Republicans and then have the split, and then the Republicans go through. Again, very unlikely. I don't think Pence will do it. And yes, I know there are pending cases in a couple states. Let me just give you the preemptive black suppository open wide. It's a big one. It's unlikely that any of these cases will go anywhere in the Supreme Court after their words on Texas. Sidney Powell's Kraken should suck Medusa's futa cock because the Kraken is dead. It's been dismissed in all 4 states. They've asked for expedited jurisdiction to the Supreme Court in all 4 states. It's going to get denied probably in all 4 states. The Kraken was not a great chance from the get-go. It was interesting. They tried to address some of the standing issues of Lynn Wood's case, but at the end of the day, they're experts. Their experts are bad by legal standards. Their experts are bad by legal standards. So, and don't mistake me. I don't think their experts did bad analysis. I don't think they're wrong. It doesn't matter how good it was. The Dober standard for qualifying an expert in court was not followed, and better, in air quotes, better qualified experts will win under Dober, and that's part of the problem with Sidney Powell's lawsuits. Okay? Someday, when I'm not drunk, we'll go through the Dober standard for qualifying an expert. It wasn't done well in Sidney Powell's case, and that was probably fatal to it. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So, Dober, think French. Daubert. Dober. So unfortunately, Sidney Powell's lawsuits are probably not going to get heard by the Supreme Court. Pennsylvania lawsuit from Trump campaign, it's not going to get heard. That would be a disaster if it was heard anyway for the Trump team. It would not produce victory. The very, very highest likelihood outcome is still what it has been for the longest time, and every day gets more like a reality, is that Joe Biden will be inaugurated as president, and you should all pucker up your assholes, hide your guns, hide your wives, hide your kids, find your tax deductions, and you better lay low for the next 4 years, and then vote the motherfucking senile monster and the racist fake brown lady out in 2024. Okay? Do that as much as possible. That's probably the outcome. And yes, vote. Vote. Don't listen to anybody who says don't vote. I'm sorry, don't. You have to vote. You have to outvote the margin of fraud. You have to do it. Look, I know you're going to say, I know you're already saying it. Oh, they'll just steal it again. What's your option? What's your option? If you want to participate in government and have representation, you have to vote and you have to outvote the fraud. The fraud's always been there. It was there last election. It was there the election before and before and before, all the way back to 1791. All of them. All of the elections have had fraud. You have to outvote the margin. Look, revolution's a different question that I cannot and will not advocate. If it comes, it comes. If it comes, it comes. Outside of that option, you want the legal option, you want the option that preserves the union, vote. I know many of you don't, and that's fine. That's up to you. I am ethically obligated to not advocate insurrection. Okay? So if you want to fight and you don't want to see violence in the streets, you've got to try the vote. That's the way. If you want violence in the streets, take that upon yourselves. I don't want it. I have kids. I have a good life. I don't want that. I would much rather see us peaceably return to some sort of sensibility, even though, listen to me very carefully, even though I see the basic futility in that. I hope and pray every day that I don't have to shoot someone. So. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway. All right, guys. Helicopters in the chat. So, we'll see. What I will say is this. Don't lose hope. You cannot be hopeful for the election outcome because the election outcome is most likely not going to Trump. That's the doom pill. Don't lose hope in people. Don't lose hope in the system. I mean, no. Sorry. Scratch that. Lose hope in the system. Don't lose hope in people's ability to wrangle the system because it does exist. Not all lost yet. But if you and everyone you know refuses to participate in the system, it is. And that's a choice. That's a choice. And I will not begrudge you either choice. I'll simply tell you my opinion. Sam says, I've lost hope in everything except children. They're my only hope for the future. Legit reality check, y'all. Legit reality check, okay? Let me drop some uncomfortable pills. For all the motherfuckers out there about America first and preserving the West or whatever, get married, have babies, and fucking raise them to be good, patriotic people. You want to know how we lost this country? A bunch of awful people raised unpatriotic assholes. And a bunch of patriots didn't participate. So when you hear some fucking gay LARPer out there be like, America first, save the West, and they don't have a wife and they don't have kids, piss in their mouth. Get kids. Raise them. Homeschool them. Do whatever it takes. You want to save what we had? Raise children who believe in freedom. And anyone who's telling you to raise children and isn't doing it, maybe diminish what they're saying a little bit, because they might be a big fucking gay grifter who loves cat boys. Fuck them. All right. Here we go. Uncivil law. Uncivil law dropped a chat. I want to hit this one, then we're going to hit all the others. It says, I respectfully disagree. Standing is rooted in common law ideas such as privity, latches, or even estoppel. I don't think it's a mere 1920s invention. Might be fun to discuss on a stream sometime. Yes, I would love to. I would love to discuss it because I know with you, I can have a respectful discussion, and we can agree and disagree at our leisure and still be good at the end of the day. So yes, we should set that up. And I think it is rooted in things, but I tend to agree with Barnes's assessment that it's ultimately rooted in convenience of the court, but it's a bigger discussion than what I've made it for sure. And I would love your input on it. And I think we should have that chat soon. Let's do that. Let's do that sometime soon. Maybe even this week. I think you texted me, and I will text you soon, and we should do it. We should do that. Okay, let's do these chats. I didn't even really talk about Road Rage that much. Do you guys have any questions about Road Rage? You don't have to send a super chat. Just tag me real quick as I read these. These justice chats and stuff like that. And if I see one, I might answer it. Road Rage. Go to a Road Rage, guys. Go to live stuff and support the people you like. General synopsis of Road Rage. Okay. A bunch of fat, old, lazy comedians. We all fall into one or more of those three categories. Fat, old, and lazy. Sitting around, making fun of each other, telling jokes. And just giving people a good time. That's what Road Rage was. That's what Road Rage should be. How many cars ran off the road? Different type of Road Rage. Was there any Gunt drama? Not really. Not really. I mean, Kiwi Farms doxed his Airbnb, but outside of that, they didn't really do anything to him. The IP2 crew didn't really do anything to him. Was there any drama between me and him? No. He tweeted out that I disavowed him in private. You know, that was just a funny sort of thing that he tweeted. And whatever. Like, again, I don't know if you guys have met me. I don't disavow people, even when I disapprove of their behavior. And let's make this really clear. If you need me to tell you not to emulate the life of, like, Ethan Ralph or Dick Masterson, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to help you. If you need me to tell you not to emulate their life, here, let me do it right now. I disavow everybody on the planet. Don't emulate the life of Ethan Ralph. Don't emulate the life of Dick Masterson. Everybody else on stage except for Mersh, don't emulate the life of Mersh. From what I know about that guy's life, he would probably tell you it's not a path you should take. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to emulate my life, maybe I'll talk to you in private all day. I'll talk about live streams on the good and the bads of my life. I'm an open book to you. I've made tons of mistakes and I made tons of great decisions. Things have worked out really, really well for me. And I would wish my life on my best friend because I have a great one. At all points in my life, this was not true. But when I look back in hindsight, I go, you know what? That led me here. Now, maybe Dick and Ralph and Mersh and anybody else might have that same opinion. They say, well, I went through some shit, which they all have, and it turned out okay. Cool. Great. I can't tell you about that. I can tell you about me. I can tell you what has worked for me and done well. I can tell you about wisdom I've gained that's made me look at the bad times and go, that sucked, but fuck, was it worth it now? I can tell you that all day. But I can't tell you to emulate. I won't tell you to emulate Drexel's life or anybody else's. Why on earth would I? I can only help you emulate mine and say that the mistakes that I've made and help you learn from those the way I did. And that's it. So disavowals are bullshit. You know what? If you here again, I'll say it. Don't live the life that Ethan Ralph has made and don't make the decisions he makes unless you want to be Ethan Ralph. If you want to be Ethan Ralph, go do it. That's on you. I don't recommend it. If you want to be Dax Herrera, go do that. That's up to you. That's on you. It's not on me. If you need me to tell you not to be that, then maybe you're already beyond help. Ethan Ralph will tell you not to emulate him. Exactly. How do people contact Spurious? You have me in DMs on Twitter, and I see them. If I don't respond, it's not because I'm being mean. It's just because I'm not like at the time that I see it, I might not get it. Hit me back. That's the best way to contact me. What about that liberal arts degree? Look, liberal arts degrees are trash. My writing degree is garbage. It helped me zero, except I was able to utilize the fact that I had a writing degree to justify my shit grades in college, get into law school. So there you go. I don't know. Was there a better path? Probably. But I went to the law school I wanted to go to. I got a scholarship there, and liberal arts degree was shit up until I used it to get into law school. I don't know what to tell you. So there you go. All right. Road Rage, though, is a bunch of fat, old, lazy, one of those three or more of those three comedians sitting around telling jokes and everybody having fun. And that is something that is sorely fucking missing today. Go have fun with people who want to just have a good time. Like, look, I know there's reports of like degeneracy at Road Rage. Someone said that there was some meth being smoked and stuff like that. I don't know. I wasn't around any meth. I don't have any idea about that. I got mildly inebriated at a couple bars. I hung out and talked with good people who had good stuff to say. And then I went to bed with my wife. That's it. It was great. It was a fun time. Go do it. Go meet people and have fun and forget about restrictions for a little bit and shitty state laws that don't make sense. Go lick the eyeballs of everyone you know and get COVID and then cough on grandma. I don't care. I know that that I was out with a bunch of people. I don't think I have COVID from it. And if I do get it, I'll be staying at home anyway. I'm going to return to a state with a bunch of fucking lockdowns. So, great. There you go. Who is the fat girl outside the bar? She's just some rando. She's just some rando inside a karaoke bar. She got bounced by the bouncer. And unlike Baked Alaska, she did not go mace the bouncer. Instead, her like boyfriend or husband or something, who is a little angry bald man, drug her down the street, keeping her away from trying to get back into the bar. She was so drunk, it was embarrassing. And he eventually knocks her down onto the ground, I think unintentionally, falls on top of her. There are a bunch of people laughing at that. Her shirt came all the way up to her pancake boobs, which thank God it didn't go over them. But we saw a terrific amount of stomach skin. And then a guy went up to try and help. A really nice guy, by the way. I hope to talk to him in the future. He went up to try and help, and the little ball of rage like turned around and screamed at him. And then he drug his fat girlfriend across the street. The cops came. There were 6 squad cars. There were 6 squad cars that showed up because they're like a block away. The cops are all there. 6 squad cars show up, and then this guy comes up, and then let's tell this story because I don't think that this got out from the videos. One of the angry bald man's affiliates was a guy with like every button on his shirt unbuttoned all the way down to his penis. And he comes up to all of us who are standing around not doing anything. And he pulls out the most $100 bills I've ever seen in one place out of his pocket. Just a wad of hundreds. And he says in all of the Spanish, he says, can I buy everybody here a beer? And he says it to this other guy who I'm not gonna say his name, but he was a lawyer and he was there. Really, really nice guy. I can't wait to talk to him more. But who happened to speak Spanish. He tells him, can I buy everybody a drink here? And he says, yeah. So they go into the little cigar bar and he buys a bunch of beers for everybody. Stella Artois, which doesn't seem very Spanish, but he bought everybody Stella Artois, and I was drunk enough to drink one and not care. So I got one, like 15 other people got beers. And then suddenly the other lawyer, who's a pretty man in his own right, very well built and very handsome, he realizes maybe what's going on. And so he goes to the bathroom. He's like, I gotta hit that bathroom. I'm gonna peace out. Right? He goes into the bathroom. And then suddenly the deepest of V-necks, the V-est of V-necks teleports behind him, says, Omoemo Shinderu. All right. In the bathroom. He is at the urinal. Dick out for Harambe, peeing into the urinal. And this guy shows up behind him and is like, I don't know how to say Spanish for I want to get in your butt. But he says that. And then the lawyer's like, nah, fam, it's cool. Right? I'm not like that. So then that guy leaves and goes out into the, the area where all the other guys are. And at that time, the manlet angry man rips out in like, I don't know if it was like a BMW. It was a pretty nice car. He rips out and he's got his fat girlfriend in the back and she's like beating the guy next to her who's in the back passenger seat. And she's like still screaming drunk, trying to get back into the karaoke bar. And she's like wailing on that guy. And the now gay Deep V guy is standing at the table just talking to some other boys because apparently he doesn't want to go home alone. I don't know. And I'm over there. I don't speak Spanish. And suddenly the like angry guy rips out of the parking lot after the cops leave. And he stops in the middle of the street. And he rolls down his window. He's like, hey, ayúdame! Vámonos! Vámonos! Arriba! Vámonos! And the guy like turns around and he like runs over to the car and he tries to get in. But the fat broad is like laying down, kicking and punching everybody. And she's screaming at him. And so he can't get in the one door. So he goes around to the other door and he opens it up and he gets in like with the Muay Thai defense, stopping this chick from just beating him. And then they tear off down the road. It was wild. It was great. And someone said, this is so Ybor City that it's sad. Yes, it was great. It was so funny. And we're all dying. Like, we're laughing like crazy. If you saw the video, Ralph tweeted the videos. Look, even if you don't follow him, I recommend going and watching the videos because they were funny. And then you'll see another video where some chonker chick comes up and gets mad at Ralph because he was videoing this whole incident. And she starts screaming at him and like hitting him. And Ralph's like, what the fuck? I'm Ethan Ralph. And he rips off his giant Hawaiian shirt. It was the wildest thing ever. Like, he's going to fight this fat Latin X chick. Will be very PC. He's going to fight this chick. And in that encounter, 100% Ralph was right. He didn't do anything. This chick came up and started like punching him and stuff. It was wild. This was like, I think this was Thursday night. This is like the first night we're there. It was crazy. Good times. Look, if you want to go laugh at Crazy Spurgs, go to a Road Rage. They're fun. It was a blast. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of Road Rage. So go do it. They're great. They're great. They're antics. You're around a bunch of drunk weirdos and everybody's trying to have fun. So Ralph is an auto block list. Look, go incognito mode and watch him, or go watch him on Kiwi Farms. That's what Kiwi Farms is there for. It was a good time. That's the best synopsis of Road Rage. The show itself was actually really good. You know, Ryan Long and Danny Polishchuk, highly acclaimed comedians who are very much trending right now, opened for the show with 15, 20-minute stand-up acts. I don't know how long they were because I was just sitting backstage while they did their stand-up acts. Danny went first, Ryan went second. Apparently great stand-up acts. I couldn't hear backstage where I was. And then we all went out and we just made fun of each other and had a fun time. Just like 8 guys with 6 microphones because everything's a fucking disaster and the venue didn't have sound equipment. Dick had to rent sound equipment last minute. So, because the venue just decided not to tell a comedy show that, oh, yeah, by the way, we don't have microphones or speakers. Wait, what? So Dick had to last minute rent all the sound equipment and get there. So we were, you know, there's like 8 guys and 6 mics, which was a fun sort of thing on itself. And we all just made fun of each other and had fun. Had fun. On a scale of 1 to Monica, how fat was this chick? I'll give it a Monica -2. She was a chonker. She was a chonker. But yeah. Yeah, I had some sick burns in there. I had one of the sickest burns of the night. I won't spoil it until the clip is out. When the clip comes out, I'll probably snag it and play it. Peacock did not make it. Allegedly may have the coof. Allegedly may have the coof. Okay. I've got to read these chats. People are asking about Twitch tonight. Yes, I'll be on Twitch tonight. I think I'm going to do one more Ranger Spencer stream. And here's what I'm going to commit to. Tomorrow, I'm going to start Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 starts tomorrow on Twitch. Tonight, we're going to do a Ranger Spencer stream because it's going to be close to 3 a.m. by the time I get it started. And that's how it's going to go. Okay? And then we'll have a good time. Ranger Spencer is my racist Nordic pride character in Skyrim that I'm role-playing. You should really come check it out. He is very much pro-Nord. Look, he just wants to peacefully or unpeacefully remove all other races from Skyrim because he's a Nord. Okay? So we'll do Cyberpunk tomorrow, and we'll make a giant penis character. Crusader Saracen says, breaking news, Trump to pardon Carmen Sandiego. This woman, this Carmen, she's so good, tremendous, the best in the world. Nobody even knows where in the world she is. I'm going to pardon her because she deserves it. She deserves it. I tell you, she really does. She really does. Joseph Valencia, I'm pretty sure my PC can handle Cyberpunk. I have a nice machine, but maybe not. We'll see tomorrow. Mario Carter 13 says, Eric, the Chinamen built the railroads so I could one day run a train on the China ladies. Swallows well. Look, that guy's fucking hilarious. That guy's fucking hilarious. What? I was just banging this hot Chinese communist. I didn't give her any secrets. I didn't know. Ed Gein diddled hee. Ed Gein's diddled hee says, apparently HBO and Michael J. Estate are going to arbitration. I thought they didn't. I thought they passed arbitration. I haven't read up on it. You should get Razorfist on to talk about it, or get him on to talk about anything else because he's entertaining. Just invite him, asshole. I will. Razorfist had made a statement a while ago that he wasn't really interested in talking about the election too much because we needed to just wait and see like the results of all this shit. So I haven't been bothering him about it. But I will talk to him. The Michael Jackson thing might be great. Bad Dragon Knight says, Ricada Longnose of the Broken Bottle Tribe. How many couches did you bring back from your long hunt this time? No couches. No couches. Kermit the Frog says, glass? Who gives a shit about glass? Who the fuck is this? Oh, you're in charge? Well, I got news for you, Dwayne. From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit, asshole. I'm not the one who just got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne. I don't know what that is, but I'll take it. Kermit the Frog says, fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes. Fuck your socks. Fuck your fairy F-slur accent. Fuck your Yakmuth teeth. Fuck your hairpiece. Fuck Guy Ritchie. Fuck Prince Harry. And fuck the Queen. This is America. Ah! Okay. Okay. Silky Johnson says, Nick, I got into an argument with my friend about Roe versus Wade. He's totally for it because autonomy or whatever. And I told him that the Supreme Court shouldn't be making policy. And that should be left up to the states. And he said, fuck that fascist shit. Literally the opposite of fascist. It's literally the opposite. Knight of Hopex says, throwing roses on stage for that Roe versus Wade part. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Did you guys see that there's a biopic for fucking Greta coming out? Greta Downsberg. Books, Games, Pottery says, loved hanging with you and Lady Rackets this past weekend. Yes, Books. It was awesome. Thank you. I can't wait to see you guys again. Hopefully soon next year. Crusader Saracen says, Nick mentions taking Constantinople. Me, I say the time has come to sound the trumpet of crusade. Allahu Akbar! Mario Kart 13 says, even if Trump gets screwed, he's still less screwed than the progressives. You cost the Democrats 2016 and nearly cost them 2020, and you think a progressive will be allowed a chance to be nominated ever again. Hopefully. Hopefully. Crusader Saracen says, if it's time to bury your guns, then it's time to dig them up. It's almost simple mathematical fact that the Republic, where half the electorate believes they're disenfranchised, will go over, as well as a drive-in movie date with Chris Brown. We'll see how it goes. Just remember, that bitch hit Chris Brown first. I'm kidding. I don't know. It's a joke. Siquinox says, sad to hear all the Doompills, Nick. At least you have a Yoko pillow. I remember your words when receiving it. This is a felony. Enjoy the Cuban cigars as well. Again, nice to meet you. Keep up the great work. You keep us informed and entertained. Hey, come see me again at some event. I will always tell you where I'm going. Joseph Kerwin says, will you disavow eating dangerous household objects? Batteries, magnets, cat hair, and so on. Look, if you want to do that and die, that's up to you. Uncivil law. Says Doom. Bentham says nice. Mr. Bentham says nice waifu. Great to have you back. Angry Baneling says Doom. Tyrannosaurus Rex says Doom. Andrew War Snowboard says, if Biden truly does believe that we should just lock them up and throw away the key, does that make him a crypt keeper? Yes. Twilight Crypt, not crypt. Twilight Dragon 3 says, did you save Mr. Masterson from a fat chick? YouTube won't let me write his name. Look, I would never save him from a fat chick. I don't know. I don't know what his opinion of a good time is. The Asterisk says, our national flag should just be changed to a print of John Stewart Curry Tragic Prelude. JJ Death says, special ordered peg leg porker 8-year from New York. I live in Florida. Pricey as hell, but some of the best whiskey I've ever had. Reminded me of Crown Royal. Don't ever say that about peg leg porker again. It's way better than Crown. Jillian Seed says, Pence needs to go full Thunder God now. Cledge Fenrir says, what is the deal with Executive Order 13848? Seeing people mention it, but I don't speak lawyer. It's 6 pages if you're curious. Is that the one where the military can intervene? Oh, look, I type in executive order. It's the imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. Yeah, I'm not going to read through this. But the people who think that Trump will have the military intervene in our election, no, he won't. And it would be highly, highly unconstitutional and illegal for a president to take that action. Okay, so don't do it. Or don't give much credence to it. It's not going to be enforced. The Insurrection Act is not going to be enforced in this election. There will not be like a military defense of election integrity. Lincoln did it. Yes, Lincoln suspended habeas corpus and jailed journalists also because there was a fucking civil war. So it's not going to happen this time. It's not. Now, unless there's a civil war. But it's not going to happen. Let's see. John Who says, might as well start learning Mandarin, folks. Not a bad plan. They've been telling me to learn Mandarin forever, since I was in undergrad. The Asterisk says, spoil it, Pence, and read the votes for all for Kanye or Vermin Supreme or something. Let him figure that one out. That would be fucking hilarious. Random username 928400531 says, GOP always ceding power to the left, cowards. Look, what GOP needs, like if you want them to do something about this, you have to support them dramatically. And I don't mean by just giving $35 more to this nameless campaign. No, you got to call them, stand with them, and go with them and be there. Rally, I guess, if that's what you do. I don't know. But even then, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're fucking cowards. Funsley says, what are the odds the lien holder pursues a deficiency judgment against DSP after they sell his condo? Understand he had $100K on the mortgage left. Depends what they can get after they sell his condo and after their legal fees. I think the odds are low of pursuing deficiency judgment, because if he couldn't pay and they weren't interested in finding out that he might have been able to pay, and that's the important thing to remember in DSP shit is all of the evidence was given to the trustee and the creditors, and they didn't use it in court. I don't think they're interested. So I think that informs me there's a low possibility they'll pursue a deficiency judgment. But it's always possible. I just don't think it's likely. I think they'll determine that he can't pay. Nernieth Arnoidad says, if DSP were elected, could he ever be taken out of office? No, DSP would be the last election ever because he's undefeatable. He's undefeatable. You couldn't remove him from office. He would have to, like George Washington, step down of his own volition. Random username 928405531 says, SCOTUS voided the contract and the union when they refused to do their job. Texas case? Maybe, but that's not how everyone else will see it. I mean, it might be practically correct, but at the end of the day, political questions and political contracts are about public perception. Super Iron Bob says, I mean, if Texas can't enforce the contract in courts, then why should the contract be respected? We've demonstrated a lot of dumb in the system as of late. It's not that it should. The question is, what will happen if Texas walks away? My theory is if Texas walks away, we enter war. That's what happened last time. Maybe it's not true. Maybe they let him go. I don't think Texas will walk away, though. Red says, the feds failed to uphold their part of the contract, so the union is void. Secession was legal before the Civil War, and the founders agreed. Yeehaw! It was. And when I tell you about Texas v. White, I do it with the tongue-in-cheek version of the winners got to decide what was legal and illegal, and the winners decided the losers were illegal. Of course they did. Of course they did. But that is the standing existing law. Ben Frail says, Pence needs to announce he will tabulate the electoral votes with a Dominion machine and declare Trump the victor with 97% of the votes cast. A Spooky Ghost says, Ybor is trash. Consider downtown St. Pete's. Look, I love St. Pete's. Dr. Barbecue and Hawkers are phenomenal. Guys, I can't eat. When I go to Hawkers and I get that dumpling noodle soup, I mean, I have to change pants afterwards. Everything I've ever eaten at Hawkers is drop dead fucking great. Same with Dr. Barbecue. The Frito pie. Oh my God. And the Hatch chili mac and cheese. Stop it. I'm hungry. Stop it. I love St. Pete's. I really do. Ybor is where the party was and where the venue was. So that's where we were. Javier Miedo says, all I want is to make content that you want to watch. That and grifting. Well, yeah, that's part of the grift, right? Angry Baneling says, like grifting 100, replaying Skyrim has rubbed off on you. Good work. Now we got to get you to do it consistently and you're set. Thank you. Yes, we have so many likes. Thank you. The asterisk says, proposal, start calling YouTube and other tech suppression and propaganda non-consensual digital insertion. Patrick Booty says, Dems outvoted the F by the F and a lot of asterisks by 6 million. Oh, the fuckery. Dems. But see, those 6 million votes actually don't matter. The electoral votes matter. You can lose by 100 million votes in theory if they're all in California and New York, and you win every other state. You win dramatically. because we set up a different system. You have to outvote it in the battleground states. Richard G says, good evening, Rackets. My wife is coming off birth control next year, and we're rolling the dice to see what happens. I'm stoic on the outside, but inside I'm nervous and anxious. How did you feel about becoming a dad? Oh, don't be stoic on the outside. Nervous wreck. Nervous wreck. Absolutely terrified. Scariest. Every single kid except the fourth and fifth ones were fine. First three. Terrible mess. But you're built for it. You're built for it, buddy. Have kids within a marriage that is strong. Don't have kids when a marriage is weak to try and preserve it. Have kids in a strong marriage, and you're built to do this. It's terrifying. Your whole world will change. You'll hate everything that ever existed that you liked before. You'll be looking at danger at every corner. You'll be waiting for tragedy to strike you like a fucking doom-pilled election worker or whatever. And it's all worth it because kids are terrific. It's okay to be nervous about it though. All right. 200 Watt Studio says, we get it, Nikki. Your mouth is full of Biden. Damn. Biden the Cold One says, but Biden's coom is better. Gross. 200 Watt Studio says, was that you standing in the bag in Biden's stall? Yes, it was always me. David Edwards says, thanks for helping me get through my crummy job, Nick. Life is better with rackets, doorbells, or no. Mario Carter 13 says, Nick serves Doompills, but neocons took cyanide. Damn. Mr. Kelso says, why have dueling electors like we did today if not to give VP an alternate selection? Seems more feasible than to have that just for just litigation. Oh, no, that's what it's. The alternate elector, the dueling electors are not for litigation. Litigation is almost, I mean, I know there's some cases that might go to SCOTUS for cert or whatever. I think the likelihood of them taking those cases is very low and limited. They've indicated that to us. It's for the political solution. I just don't think that that's going to pan out. I don't think they're going to do it. I haven't read the Dominion report from Michigan. Human Stone. So I can't give you opinions on it. I'll try and read it for tomorrow. CJ says, oh, kind of like Gates and pandemic protocols. Exactly. Bill Gates has no business talking about pandemic protocols. Colin says, thanks for the Hawking laugh. No problem. Anytime I can make fun of disabled piece of shit Stephen Hawking for talking outside of physics, I will. Automata says, Hawking diss track live stream win. Reek says, Nick, didn't know if you got my tweet, but thanks for talking 40K for a bit at Tampa and checking out my chaos figures. See you when I see you. Thanks for sharing them with me, man. They were awesome. I humbly bow to your painting prowess. They're great. And they're very cool. I hope to someday paint as well as you do, my dude. The asterisk says the rest of Illinois thinks Chicago is crap too, Nick. Yeah, well, I know. Rational Redneck says, a live stream or two ago, I asked what a sovereign citizen was. You suggested I Google it. I regret everything. Yes. 200 Watt Studio says, Nikki, this is a perfect time to yell at Shane H. Shane Holmberg, that guy's a giant turbo cuck. Angry Baneling says, uh-oh, abort this rant before Susan catches on. Highway 7 says, long-time viewer, first-time super chat. Holy-ish, Nick. I love your rant. Abortion is murder for sure. In before the ban and removal of this vid. 200 Watt Studio says, for the fans! Automata says, think you lost some folk with the Wang smooching. Wang smooching. Climb BMX says, Roe versus Wade. This quote, the sole function of government is to maintain and uphold individual rights and freedoms. Except it didn't do that. It doesn't do that in the slightest. WHMW says, so how about Casey versus Planned Parenthood? Casey versus Planned Parenthood is better than Roe versus Wade and still trash. Archimedes says, first, Deus Vult on any abortion clinics. Second, you actually look like you are scarred for life, Nick. I am. I legitimately am. Broken Bishop says, 2K likes, another shot. Sure. I don't think we'll get there, though. Highway 7 says, my youngest son turns 18 tonight. The bittersweet feeling like I've crossed some sort of Rubicon as a dad. The rant of a drunk lawyer gave me hope. Look, man. Your youngest son will turn 18. He'll make a bunch of stupid decisions. and he'll make a bunch of good ones because you're his dad. That's it. Swade's Lounge says broadcast on DLive, but before every show, put up a YouTube video telling people you're going live. DLive has super chats and subscriptions. Look, I have my own beef with DLive. Not the biggest fan of the DLive CEO or the DLive management team or whatever, because someone is squatting on the Ricada Law channel on DLive. I asked them for help, and they suggested I create and build a completely different channel before they would help me. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to build an alternate channel, get people subscribed over there through a bunch of fucking hard work, and then usurp a bogus Ricada Law channel and have everybody have to like redo everything. If you're not willing to help me get the channel that has 0 videos, 0 comments, and 0 views on it, even though it's clearly meant just to squat on my name, then I'm not going to go on your platform. Sorry. And that's not a compromise option. That's not a compromise option. If they want to keep that completely dead fucking channel that doesn't do anything and doesn't make them any money as on their platform, they can keep it. If they want to have me on there, they would fucking help me get what should obviously be my channel name. So, Birdie Berry says the original suffragette feminists were against abortion. It was a method to protect men, not women. Women in those days understood natural law. Yep. Can't you just name your channel Ricada Law Streams and screw the squatter? I can, but I'm not going to. My channel name's Ricada Law. Fuck them. Fuck everything. Automata says a right to medical privacy. We're going to apply that to vaccine status, right? Nope. I mean, it was important enough for clinics to operate in COVID. No, we won't. We won't do it. Super Iron Bob says, for a hope pill, many weaknesses of the system are exposed. Now we know how bad things are. And because of Biden, it starts. Back. I'm back. Don't worry. Hello. What's up, guys? Sorry, I have to go upstairs. I have to go upstairs to use oh my gosh, I have to refresh this. I have to go upstairs to use my cell service. So we're back. Woo! Okay. That was just a hiccup with my internet. I don't know. It went down and then came back up in 45 seconds, a minute or whatever. Okay, here we go. Where were we? Midnight in Exile says there won't be voting in 2024 if Biden is inaugurated. Don't fool yourself. Sure, you can go to the polls. Won't matter. Maybe. S13 Illuminati says outvote the margin of fraud. Are you effing kidding? 700,000 vote lead disappears in Pennsylvania overnight. You think we can just outvote the fraud? FOH. I don't know. The question is, your other option is probably violence. I don't advocate violence. I don't advocate political violence. So that is the option. Outvote the margin of fraud. Outvote it in the House and the Senate if they're confident that they have passed the threshold by outvoting Trump. Maybe they clearly didn't do it on House elections. They don't seem to have really done it on Senate elections. Republicans largely picked up seats in the House, will have held most of the seats in the Senate if they win in Georgia. Hey, by the way, if you don't vote in Georgia and we lose the Senate, we're really in trouble. But if they, and now that these fraudulent processes have been exposed, maybe there's hope. You win at the midterms and flip the House Republican, keep the Senate or make it stronger Republican. There's possibility there. Dr. Teeth says, Nick, as I understand it, you have a nice little chunk of land. Why not build a small studio separate from the house? My studio in the house is terrific. I like that. I like my studio. I stopped hearing Super Iron Bob's super chat. Okay, so he says, for a hope pill, many weaknesses of the system are exposed. Now that we know how bad things are, and because of it, Biden starts with a little political capital. Oh, I didn't stop that in my brain. It worked in my brain. So that's why. Sorry for that. Damn it. Trying to get everything running again. Woo. Okay. Automata says, is emulate Drexel's life code for blackface? Yes. Death Rider 889 says, great timing for my headset to die right when you say lick eyeballs and get COVID. We'll have to catch the rest on replay. Damn. Fed Zeppelin says, Ebor was insane. Sunday night we rounded a corner and saw a completely unrelated 20-person street brawl. Thanks for signing my shirt. You're welcome. Ebor was fun. It was degenerate as shit, but it was fun at least. Javier Miedo says, what's most likely, special sessions in states flipping for Trump or executive order by Trump or Pence stunt or 14th Amendment? The most likely is none of those. The most likely is that the election will just go to Joe Biden. Trump will leave office and that's the end of it. Super Iron Bob says, sorry for killing the stream. You should be, you mean bastard. Kermit the Frog says, I'll be dead on his ass like Spencer for fucking hire. I'll hunt him down and feed him his testicles, and I'll do it in a jiffy. And I don't care if his mama's there, his grandmama, innocent bystanders, little kids, babysitters, bill collectors, IDGAF. Trump says, Alia eacta est, let the dice be cast. Tremendous dice, though. Wonderful dice. We really have confidence in the dice because they're better than every other dice that's out there. Someone asked if votes should be awarded proportionally among the states. I don't know. I don't know about that. I kind of like the system that was set up. But it's up to individual states to do that, so that's their choice. All right, guys. That is the end of it. We will be over on Twitch for Ranger Spencer's stream of Skyrim. It should be fun. Come over there, relax, take a chill pill, and we'll talk very soon. It was lovely to have you all here while YouTube was actively suppressing the stream. I want you to know that we have 1,380 likes. YouTube, I don't think let the stream get much above 1,300 viewers concurrently, which I don't know how that happens. We have over 100% likes to viewers, to concurrent viewers. To let you know how that normally goes. We usually get a 25% like to viewer ratio. YouTube is actively suppressing and fucking with things that you want to watch. So make sure to, again, this is not about me, specifically with other creators that you like. Make sure you support them. Make sure you like their streams. Make sure you share their stuff. Because with the Joe Biden victory, YouTube is out for blood on everybody. On everybody. Siren Jack says, maybe people don't like the Doompills. I'm sure that's part of it. But what you may have missed at the beginning of the stream, I don't know when you showed up. you may have been here at the beginning and heard this, but what you missed at the beginning of the stream was I got a specific message from YouTube saying that you might get less viewers as we are actively trying to combat spam. Whenever YouTube tells you you might get less viewers, let me tell you, what they do is they hollow you out on numbers. Every single time. And it's no coincidence that when they say you might get less viewers and you lose 50, or no, not 50, 30 to 40% of the viewers you normally have, that's not an accident. That's not an accident. Malik Foxen says, your modem probably needs to be restarted. Also, training complete after 4 months. Be sure to warn me if you have anything to say about your charter overlords so I can briefly exit the stream. No, for what it's worth, for the past decade, Charter has given me very good and reliable service. I don't have complaints about them. I mean, it sucks when shit randomly goes down from time to time, but largely they've been pretty good. My only complaint with Charter is if you're going to do 3 a.m. line maintenance in my area, let me know so I know. All right, guys. We'll catch you very soon. Tomorrow, we'll catch you very soon. Drexel just informed me that he is going to come out on Wednesday. I wasn't sure if he's going to come out tomorrow or Wednesday. He's going to come out Wednesday. So we will have some Drexel streams coming forward this week. I don't know how many. I don't know, how many he's going to want to do and stuff like that. But he will be on at least at some point. We're going to have some fun times. And we will have good things. Outro is starting right now. Ladies and gentlemen, come over to twitch.tv/Ricada Law. Enjoy some chilled out Skyrim. It's a different kind of content to get you through your late nights or early morning.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit,
have
but
a good
you
night.
realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along with his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight. We'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more a love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than